What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is HUD Wednesday nights, and we have a lot of negative things to talk about.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time. Welcome in, everybody. This is HUD Wednesday nights, only on HUD Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. And hey, Birds fans, Tom Arnone with some huge news. Philly Sports Trips has released their Eagles schedule. Make sure you go see my friends from phillysportstrips.com and reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch a Birds game in a great city and hang with former Eagles like Hollis Thomas and the likes. Philly Sports Trips books you at the best hotels and has the best Birds available. You know you'll have a blast. Book now and tell them HUD sent you. As always on Wednesday nights, Frank Vespi, Greg Mlakovic, Michael Kromiak, Ralph Del Vecchio, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, and there's the train wreck. Welcome in. We got a lot of negative nonsense to talk about tonight. Phillies get swept in San Fran. Now lose 4 in a row. Every time they start to get a little warm, they are smacked in the face, and they probably shouldn't be allowed to go out to the West Coast for the rest of the year. All right, enough with the West Coast. We stink out there. Not good enough. We'll talk Phillies at the end of the show. How to fix the Sixers. How much time does everybody have? So we're going to try to do that as not only a team here on HUD Wednesday nights, but as well as the family out there. We're going to find a way to fix this mess. Our main topic at hand, future of James Harden and Joel Embiid. Ties into our poll question, and our poll question is brought to you by FanUp. And FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, daily MLB contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D, and you get $50 right at sign up. You can download FanUp on the Apple Store. Our poll for tonight is about another loser. James Harden will be back in a Sixers uniform next season. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. And everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. And like I always say, most importantly, join the conversation tonight. State of the Union. Oh, my God. I'll start off with saying our dry jock president of basketball operations has had a hard on for James Harden since his first strip club with him. All right. And I hope Daryl Morey understands that his job is now on the line here in Philadelphia. Okay. Now your job now, all right. You fire a coach. Now we go up the ladder after this. Right. So when you know that, I would hope that he'd be smart enough to be more creative than run it back. But he's talked about early. He's talked about, like, you've heard some rumblings, like we just started playing together. Now, this being said, James Harden is opting out of the money, and he's looking for a 4-year deal. Okay? I got no time to give James Harden a 4-year deal. I actually have a hard time giving James Harden a 2-year deal. And when I hear some of the things that have happened towards the end of this season between him and our head coach, who we all wanted accountability, everybody in Philadelphia couldn't talk about how to get rid of daddy, needed accountability, and we finally got some. All right? That guy is now fired. And part of the reason he has been fired is one of your best players, air quote, they don't get along the best because Doc held him accountable, I guess, over the last year and a half. That being said, we've watched James Harden deteriorate as a player. He's not as good. And you got to tell me about assists and all that cool stuff, okay? Offensively, consistently, he's not the same player. He's just not. And that's okay. That's what happens when you get older. Doesn't mean he can't be a threat on a given night. But if we're trying to win a world championship here, which we're trying to do, we're watching tonight. We're watching around the league. You tell me that offense works, that pound. I'm going to dribble for 20 seconds of the shot clock and jack or go past somebody and try to look for contact. And I'm over it. I'm over it. So I'm going to go off emotion and what I think they should do more than what James Harden is going to happen with James Harden. Because I have no way to tell you how they're laying head to toe, him and Daryl Morey in a bed together, or they're cuddling at night. I can't answer that because I feel like they are. We're not doing what's best for our best player. We're not doing what's best for the MVP. It looks like we're doing what's best for James Harden. And if that's the way this organization runs from here on out, we're in bigger trouble than we were in. So I'm going to disagree. He's not back. I'm going to talk that into existence. And if anybody here can tell me, oh, Tom, well, what's the other option? Well, I don't get paid to make that option. You understand? I don't get paid millions of dollars to be that creative with it. Figure it out, Daryl. Figure it out, because that's what you were crowned on. You were crowned on moving and shaking. Moving and shaking. Well, guess what? Time's yours, Daryl Morey. So I disagree. Talking to existence, I got no time for this loser. I got no time for it. Joel's a loser, but at least he's the MVP of the league. This guy has been a perennial loser, even when he was in his prime of his career, and he ain't even a best 75 player in the last 20 years. He ain't the best 75 in NBA history. Knock it off. Most overrated player I've ever seen. This is why we didn't like him to begin with, but we accepted it because it was better than what we had, which was a kitty cat. Okay? But that's it. And I was hoping and praying that he would be different here, and he's going to come in, and everything's going to be. Listen, he wants James Harden. He wants to do what he wants. He wants to control what happens with James Harden, right? He doesn't want anybody telling him what to do. This is why he wanted to come with Daryl. F out of here. I'm done with him. Disagree.
Yeah, it's funny, Tom, how the guy whose reputation, that's how he kind of made his bread and butter for all the places he's been in, Daryl Morey, and that's moving and shaking, being creative, all of those things. Isn't it ironic that of course, when he comes here and a couple years after, I'm basically running to broad because I'm like, oh, we got somebody that's going to be creative and think outside of the box. We get the version of him that is this predictable, almost kind of complacent Daryl Morey that's like, oh, well, yeah, our plan A is to bring back, mid-30s James Harden, who is only reliable 1 out of every 6-7 games. And that's our main goal. And if not, we got to get creative. Well, get freaking creative. That's only your freaking job as a GM or president of basketball operations. I don't know. That kind of comes with the job, right? When things get a little, again, only one champion every year, right? So odds are in any sport, you're going to come out of a season not attaining your ultimate goal, which means you got to move and shake a little bit. And ever since kind of that second night right after the draft where we got out, we got out of the Al Horford thing, we got Seth Curry and Danny Green and we got Maxey. Ever since then, where it was like, oh, this is going to be Daryl, it's been, it's James Harden and trying to rebuild the 2017-18 Rockets, the team that wasn't good enough to get out of the Western Conference Finals. And I can understand, if I'm in Daryl's staff, I'm like, well, we're going to try and recreate that Rockets team that would have beaten anybody, but arguably one of the greatest teams ever assembled. Got it. But this is also a team that's these Rockets players, this is 6 years ago now. They're 6 years older, right? And we've seen it, right? We could talk about how this team, not only in the past, but mainly this team, right? And how we need to fix this team. They didn't get out of the second round because they didn't do the little things well, right? Or there was health things or guys were older. No, we didn't get out of the second round because we didn't have reliability, right? James Harden, for all the good things that he brings, right? The 40-something games in game one, right? And then he replicates that again in the series. All the assists, putting Joel Embiid in the best possible position to be MVP. All those good things, right? We're not saying he's a garbage-type player, but he's a garbage-type player for what we need, right? We need somebody, because we've never really had it in a consistent sample size, to be reliable in the biggest moments. That's it. And listen, if you put gun to head, oh, okay, you got to bring Harden back for 1 year. I'm like, okay, there's worse things in the world. But all signs point to it being 4 years, where it's probably going to be the first 2 years it's team friendly. And then the salary goes skyrocketing, right? Which is already going to be harder to win because of the age of Embiid and all those things. So I'm like you, Tom, I'm not going to speak it into existence, right? If we got the report 5 minutes from now saying, James Harden and Daryl Morey, have a handshake agreement and he'll be back, I'll be like, yeah, that probably makes sense, right? Because they've been tied to the hip for years. But just for once, Daryl, for once in our damn lives, can you try and be creative outside of the James Harden business, please? Because if we're going to try and do it tonight, and we're getting paid nothing to do as far as, hey, be the GM or president of basketball operations for the Sixers, can you at least attempt it, please, before giving James Harden a 4-year, $150 million deal? Please.
$200 million deal. So,
Well,
I mean,
too.
Yeah, fit the table. I don't think he tried to recreate the Houston Rockets. I think that's like not you, but people that say that's like lazy. Like he brought in James Harden from the Rockets and PJ Tucker, who had a stint with the Rockets, right? Like he didn't. I mean, House doesn't even matter. Like I know he played there for a minute, but it's not like it was like he brought in Eric Gordon and he like we were different. We like I'll give him credit over the last 2 years. He put together a better basketball team. That basketball team just hasn't gotten over that hump, right? Like he's moved, he's done things, right? But it hasn't gotten them over the hump. But now, when you fire the coach, now time's yours. So if you don't believe this roster's good enough, then you have to move and shake to get yourself over the hump. I just don't like him because I feel like his relationship with James is more important than him trying to win.
It's like a bias thing. It's like a cloud's judgment. It's very, very strange.
So hopefully this loser's not. Because he's not back for 1 year, right?
No, we did that last year, right?
Yeah,
that was the Harden, hey, I'm going to be a good teammate year, right? That's why we all said during the year, for numerous reasons like this, is the year, if it's not to win a title, it's to at least get past the second round. Because all those things are pointing like you're not going to replicate this again. And that's one of the many reasons. He's going to try and get his, both pay-wise and all reports from Chris Haynes and all these things on he wants to be respected in the offense, which I don't know what that means because how can I respect somebody who has dead legs 85% of the time?
No, he wants offensive freedom is what's reported, which means he wants freedom to do whatever he wants. And what we watched at the beginning of the year were Doc Rivers, who gets a lot of scrutiny in this city, and I get it, right? But when Doc Rivers said this is a dictatorship, and that dictatorship starts when you get the ball to him, right? He didn't like that. And Sam Cassell said the same thing to him. This offense goes through him. And when we struggled, guess where the offense stopped running through? It's simple. I don't care what anybody said. Joel wasn't good enough. Nobody's giving him a goddamn free pass. But when the offense got stale, Joel stopped touching the basketball. Simple. Because this guy pounds. I'd rather have Tyrese Maxey be my second option and Tobias Harris than the James Harden. Would rather have it. Johnny, thanks for the super chat. We'll read it off in 1 minute, brother. 1 minute. Get through everybody on here.
Go ahead, Ralphie.
Oh, I thought I would go last tonight. Let you guys get all the venting out for you guys.
Here, I'll go ahead. I'm ready.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Here, guys, you brought up a lot of great points here. You talk about one stuck out to me, complacency. Fellas, it starts from the very, very top in owner Josh Harris. For God's sakes, he's more interested in the fucking Washington goddamn Commanders, okay? Let's face it. He's more interested in the Commanders, well, sort of, because he bought the fucking team, okay? He's interested in this. That's it. The almighty dollar, all right? He's more interested in building an arena that nobody wants on Market Street. That's what he's interested in. He's not interested in winning. He's interested in our money. All right? And it's just
real quick. He's interested in winning enough
to have a product where people continue to buy in every year to get season tickets.
Yeah, because you're not going to have, you got to be interested in winning enough.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But he doesn't have any say here. That's why he has a director of basketball operations. So like I don't get into the owner game. I know you love it because you're old school and you go back to Leonard Toast, right? But like at the end of the day, what are we talking about? They just sign off on shit. That's why they hire. That's why no. That's why you hire a director of basketball operations and then a general manager underneath him, so that you give full carte blanche to Daryl Morey to do what he really wants to do. That's what you do. That's why you do it. This ain't, you know what I mean? This isn't Major League Baseball where you got to go get a sign off on signing a guy for $500 million. Come on, Leonard Toast. Go with something else besides the damn owner, would you?
But it starts at the top and just works all the way down. It does, Tom. And look at Daryl Morey. They have a guy in place.
Hold on, Mark Cuban doesn't care. Mark Cuban doesn't care. How's he aged? He's had one trophy and how many years of ownership for the Dallas Mavericks? So you can care all you want, right? Like you know what I mean? You care all you want. Just don't go somewhere else besides the owner. Just go anywhere. Blame anybody.
23 years, Tom. 23 years.
23 years, one trophy. You think you don't care? Come on, it doesn't always equate the titles, caring. I hate Joshua Harris, but he cares enough about winning. Enough. But he doesn't really, unless it's like trading Joel Embiid, Daryl Morey doesn't have to call him. That's my point. Like, unless he's trading the MVP of the league, he don't have to pick up the phone for that. That's it.
I don't even think Morey needs to pick up the phone for that one.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think Morey's held accountable worth a damn. I think he's able to do whatever the fuck he pleases, and it shows. And I wouldn't be surprised if James Harden is in a Sixers uniform again next season. And I agree with you. I don't think he should be. And I don't think James Harden gives two shits about winning. He only gives a damn about MONEY. That's it. And as long as he gets his MONEY, he won't give two shits as to whether or not he ever sees a Larry O'Brien trophy. Let's face it, guys. They don't truly care about winning. It starts at the top, goes right all the way down to the players. Joel Embiid cared more about that MVP. James Harden cares more about getting his 4-year deal that he doesn't deserve.
Yeah, that's true. I don't buy in that Joel cares more about the MVP than a championship. I find that lazy as shit. I find anybody who says that's a lazy thing. Just say he stunk. Don't just try to lift up rocks. Not you. Don't try to lift up rocks for shit. He wasn't good. We don't gotta say, well, he got his MVP, so he didn't care anymore. He had 3 30-point games in this series. Like, we act like he didn't even show up at all. Or 4 30-point games. Like, can we stop? Like, he cared more. Like, we don't think he cares about winning. Come on, he stunk. That's what happened. He got pumped. There's a difference. Doesn't mean that he cares more about an MVP than winning. He
got schooled by Al Horford, okay?
I know.
Enough said. This team got absolutely outclassed by the Boston Celtics. And I don't give a damn that it went 7 games. We were lucky to get the 7th game. And and by the middle of the 3rd quarter, I'm sorry we got that 7th game.
Hold on. How are you going to say we were lucky to get a goddamn 7th game when we were up 3-2 in the series? How are we lucky to get a 7th game? Hey, come on. Now you're making me defend the Sixers tonight. Like, how are we lucky to get a 7th game when we were up 3-2 in a series? How? We were running around. We were throwing a parade up 3-2. And now you're going to tell me we got lucky? They got lucky that we let them off the goddamn hook with 5 minutes to go in Game 6. That's the facts. That's the facts.
A lapse away from winning in Game 6.
Yeah, come on. Like, I don't want to defend nobody, but we're close. We were close. But that's still far away. That's a lot of what ifs, right?
We were up 9 points in Game 7 at one point, Tom. We were up 9.
Yeah, we ended up losing by 24.
Oh, I know. I walked away from the TV. I know.
I wasn't lucky enough to be able to walk away from it.
No. Yeah. We had to sit through that misery.
Yep.
Salute to you guys.
All right, so you think he's back, Noah, through all our back and forth here?
Unfortunately, yes, I do. But I mean, if I'm looking at this organization from top to bottom, there's a big difference from fucking Josh Harris than there is in Jeffrey Lurie across the street.
I knew the Jeffrey Lurie comparison was coming.
I'm sorry.
I knew it. I knew the Eagles would be coming up somewhere.
Mr. Gold Standard's in the house. So that's also lazy because when Jeffrey Lurie was nice enough to grace us with his gold standard was after we couldn't. How many SEC title games?
Oh, shit. I guess I am lazy. I mean, shit. I'm laying in bed at 10:30 at night. Oh, what a lazy fuck I am.
No, like, Jeffrey Lurie could do no wrong. You know, Jeffrey Lurie did a lot wrong early on in terms of what he said, in terms of the way he went about, like some of the things he said at the wrong times. Make sense? Like him and Howie have learned a lot.
I mean, maybe he was a little early with the gold standard stuff, but
now they are. But yes.
We looked at him, like 2.5 years ago, we looked at him and Howie's like the evil empire. I
Exactly.
remember, and it was Noah the one that was saying to sell the team, Noah.
Yeah.
You were the one like, the number one guy I would talk to in this city is Jeffrey Lurie because I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Now it's like he's the gold standard. I love it. Listen, that's what happens when you go to Super Bowls, I guess. That's what happens.
Yeah, you know, when you win one in 2017 and when you get back there in 2022, who knows? Maybe we'll go back again this year. You know.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Crumb. Noah agrees to the poll. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the whole situation, I don't see a way that he's not back. I don't think that he should be. However,
he'll be back at a club risque near you.
He will be. I mean, he seems like more of a show and tell kind of guy to me.
Yeah, well, he's show and tell, all right.
And I know show and tell's in Philadelphia, so
I hate to say it, but he's probably butt ass naked like Morant on the couch. You know what I mean? Like he's a butt ass naked guy in the strip club. You know those guys. You know the butt ass naked cats. They just want to rip everything off like it's a party, like it's a big orgy. Knock it off.
They own the place, right?
Yeah. Put your pants on. Go ahead, Kirk.
No, I mean, you know, we sit here and we can talk about Morey being the guru, but at the end of the day, they don't have the flexibility to go for a better option. They don't have the draft capital to be creative enough to use, because the only way you're going to get something else is if you move Tyrese Maxey with Tobias's contract, but they don't even have the draft capital to do that. So I think at the end of the day, they run it back essentially with this team, including James Harden with a different head coach. Maybe a piece or two moved here. They get out of the Montrezl Harrell atrocity, you know, some of those other, you know, low end last year the deals, but there's just no other options in terms of an all-star caliber player unless literally they move mountains. And I just don't see mountains being moved for James Harden at this point. I'd love to see a sign and trade. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd hope it's not Mike D'Antoni as a coach. I know we're going to go down that road, but they just don't have the draft capital. Their pick swaps aren't that valuable because they have back end of the first round picks. They're just not in a good situation for the next couple of years. So I don't think he's going to get a 4-year deal. He wants that. I don't think anybody, including Houston, is going to give him that. So I think he's going to end up back here probably in somewhere around a 2 or 3 year deal at maybe
outstanding,
maybe $40 million. I don't think he's not getting $50 million. There's no way. Nobody's going to give him $50 million.
Well, I mean, that's positive in a way, because if you do it that way, right, just to play devil's advocate and talk about these things a little bit, you give him a 2-year deal, hypothetically, maybe 3 or whatever.
Like Devils. Oh, yeah. Josh owns them, too.
Oh, my God. God. I can't. I just quit smoking cigarettes 3 days ago. I got to deal with this guy. I might go back.
Don't worry. I'll have you smoking a pack again in no time.
I'll be right back in. I'll be double fisted. Correct. Okay. Yeah. So if you go like the 3-year route, play option for the third, you know, after this year, like you have 2 options for Tobias. You can wait to try and make a deal at the deadline with them where it really is enticing to people, or you just hold on to him and then that slot opens up when he goes, right? Instead of taking on other people's stupid money, you just wait it out and now it's another open spot. And then people are going to say to me, well, then you got to max Maxey. Fine. We are allowed 3 of them. So you'll still have an open spot. So it's bleak. It's bleak, but there is like a little end in sight if somebody in a year from now, another year, makes sense, wants to play with Joel and Harden. Like, there's that, and Maxey. There would be a max slot open, right? So we'll talk about that as we go. But to your point, like, I don't like that with Harden, but what do you do?
It's honestly probably your best route.
We just run it back, baby, and get eliminated by Boston again next year.
Chrome, to your 40, 50 mil, are you talking about per year or are you talking about in total?
Per year.
Okay. All right. Good. No, because I was going to say, like, if we can get him total at 40 mil, where do I
think he's going to – I think he's going to come in somewhere – no, because, I mean, at that point, he just may as well have just signed the 1 year, 36 mil.
Exactly.
So I think he's – I think you'll get him probably around 40, 41, 42 mil.
See, I think less. If you're going to give him a 3-year deal, player option for the third, he's only guaranteed 39 next year. So if you give him 32, 32, 32, or you get that close to 100 for 3 years, no shot he doesn't sign that. No shot.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, and maybe it depends. You know, you're offering him the longevity of getting $32 million over a couple of years, and then he's taking 4 less than he could have in terms of the actual annual or the salary for the season. Maybe that's
guy just stunk on national TV. So for a game and a half, a game and 5 minutes.
You know the thing about, and you're absolutely right, but the thing about sports is there's always a team out there that is desperate, whether it's to sell tickets or to create a buzz. That's why so many of these guys continue to get chance after chance, whether they quit on teams, whether they have off the court issues. And at the end of the day, I don't think anyone will max him, but somebody will give him $40 million a year.
Mm-hmm. Frank?
I mean, if we want to go with an easy fix for the Sixers, I mean, Seattle's looking for an NBA team. So with that being said, there's the Ryan Brodo eye roll of wonder. I disagree to the poll as well. Signing Harden to that extension for like 40, 50 million years, it's not going to be a good look for us. I really hope we get a sign and trade done for Harden. I mean, this team needs an overhaul. I'm not going to say rebuild, but we need an overhaul or a retool, as the cool kids say. I think it all depends on where this team's going to go coaching wise. It all depends on what we need to do to keep Joel happy. It also depends on, how to approach free agency and how to approach a draft with we don't have a draft pick this year. So, we're screwed. So, we need something done. We need something real bad. And I think the first step on getting this team somehow, some way over this hump is doing this sign and trade with Harden.
Okay. Greg, what do you say?
I want to disagree, but I agree to the poll. I think he's going to be back. I don't want him back. I've always wanted him. I haven't wanted him here ever, But I mean, for all the reasons that we've said, right? I mean, his attachment and his relationship with Morey is the biggest thing, right? You know what I mean? And regardless of what happens, Morey has a blind eye for him, right? You know what I mean? And he always has. So he's going to try. He's going to attempt to run it back. I don't want him to. It makes it real easy for someone like me to not watch like ever again, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I haven't watched outside the playoffs. I haven't watched, with Harden here. I haven't watched much Sixers anyway, just because of how much I hate the guy. Going to your rant, like you ranted 100% perfectly about how much of a perennial loser he is in the NBA. You know what I mean? I don't want him back. But I don't see Morey actually having the balls to pull that trigger.
Yeah, and it makes sense in that angle, right? I've died out a little bit. I've calmed down since the loss. Like I don't think I'm on the Embiid trade.
Are you
machine.
sure?
No, I'm not on the Embiid trade machine anymore. Like I'm not. I don't know if I'm willing to to get rid of the MVP of the league. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm there. I was there on Sunday, don't get me wrong. But as the week goes on and I can take a step back from it, I've that other loser, I want no parts of. But Greg, stop. I love his eye. It gave me more of a reason not to watch. Like, hey, come on. Hey, come on. It's your team. One guy ain't going.
It was my team.
One guy doesn't decide if we're watching. I mean, come on. One guy.
You are the Eeyore.
Well, I also hate the whole
Philly
NBA
sport.
period, too,
Okay,
though.
different
I hate the
conversation.
whole NBA, so
Yeah, I can't hate you there.
the
That-
NBA is just a trash product, and then you put the worst player in the history of the league on my favorite team, and yeah, I'm not going to watch.
Johnny, appreciate the super chat. We're getting to you about 20 minutes late. You guys are the best. Just got off my flight and into an Uber. A lot of details in this. And my Uber driver is playing Tecmo music. Tecmo music is the Dwayne Dedman of all music categories. Yeah.
Maybe the James Harden.
But listen, Ralphie, you're about to go here and nobody gives a rat's ass.
I know. I don't know why I'm even going at this point. I just wanted to let you guys vent and have your night tonight. I'll just sit in the back and just laugh away and have about everything.
You and Chrome have been dying the last 5 minutes.
But real quick,
Daryl
Morey's been with two teams his whole entire life since being the general manager of every in the NBA. And that's the Houston Rockets and Philadelphia 76ers. And his son has been with them almost majority of his whole entire career, and that's James Harden. And I don't think his son's going anywhere, fellas. I think his son's staying in Philly. I think he's back. And to your point, Chrome, I could honestly see them running back with a couple, running back at least the starting five, but a couple different pieces on the bench along the way throughout free agency. Because you look at the point, if say you do lose or you let James Harden walk and he goes somewhere else, what point guard in the free agency round are you willing to go for, right? Because if Kyrie stays in Dallas, right, you're gonna have another headache in Kyrie, right? Do you want that headache on your team?
Honestly, I would take
obviously
Kyrie or Harden, I'm in. I'm in for Kyrie. I'll deal with all the extra.
I actually think
That's how bad it's gotten. That's how bad it's gotten. Yeah.
I actually think Kyrie
and then there's
would
other
probably
names
be
out there that
I'll
might
pick.
become
I'll pick.
available.
I'll pick at the vaccine. I'll pick at the vaccine right with him. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to pick it for, whatever you want to pick it for, Kyrie, I'll pick it with you to get this loser out of town. Right? At least Kyrie's won something.
The basketball wise, the Kyrie and Embiid thing would be very fun. I think
it would actually be excellent.
But there's one name out there
that's a chip
that could probably really get this thing going. That's Russell Westbrook.
Get out.
No, you know the name that really get this going? There's two of them actually, and they both play for the Clippers. All right? Right? One's Kawhi Leonard in some fashion or Paul George.
I'd take Paul George.
Like I don't care either one of them. Like I'll take damaged goods maybe over what I see's damaged. Right? Like the other guy just damaged when he plays. Right? You know what I mean? The other guy just damaged when he plays. I'll take a flyer and pray I get 50 load management out of Kawhi, and I got the wing guy that I need. That I desperately need for this basketball team. Same with Paul George. I need somebody on the wing to be able to go off for 30. That's what we're missing.
Well, wings win in this league, and you see it all throughout the NBA. You have a good enough wing, you win.
No, and we have a good one. He's just the offense. He's our fourth option. So we don't run our offense. We don't run our offense around the wing. If we actually ran it through more Tobias than pound the basketball, I bet you the offense is better. Like better in a fashion. It probably flows better.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean Tobias is Kawhi or Paul George. That just means a guy who can score 20 in this league.
The best version of Tobias is when the ball's moving.
And you also knew if you were a basketball guy, you knew this was coming from Harden though. Because he's been saying it all year long. He's been planting the seeds. I took a pay cut. I took pay cuts. I took a pay cut here, and every other week I took a pay cut. I sacrificed my part. Why isn't nobody sacrificing for me? Type of thing. And he's been planting little seeds here and there throughout the whole entire year. And you knew this was going to come. He was going to opt out, and he's gonna go and try to get his money, whether that's here or somewhere else. Jesus Christ, did that just happen?
What? I can't believe this. I can't believe this. We're watching the guy. We're watching the guy again. We're watching the guy again. Wait, no. I'm hunting for Greg Milakovic. I'm full throttle on you, right? When we got this guy, I told you we got a dog. We got a leader. We got a junkyard big puppy. All right, and you didn't want to hear it, and Wilson didn't want to hear it, and me and Sweep tried telling you what we were getting. And I got my Greg
clock violations.
I know they did. I was loud about it too.
He lost the game too.
Because I was trying to
He was
sell.
better than James Harden. He's better than James Harden.
Oh, we're watching it while we got Daryl Morey and James Harden.
Harris over me.
I'm not.
You know, I'm just messing with you.
No, 100%. But he does rise to the occasion, though. I will give him that credit, right? Like big games, he does show up. He doesn't shot clock violations aside, but at least he had a good game though that night. Like you could look at his box score and be like, yeah, he might have lost the game, but he didn't 9-point lose the game.
Listen, we saw big shot after big shot when he was here in a half a season. If they actually ran that back, the Sixers cut the Nets down the next year. I would guarantee it. And the biggest mistake this franchise ever made, it ain't Tobias over Jimmy. I want to make that clear to everybody. It was a 25 over Jimmy. It was a kitty cat or Jimmy Butler. And this organization, Brett Brown and management decided to go Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler.
With a side of Brett Brown.
That's what killed this franchise. Killed it. Can you get back to it? We're going to talk about ways to be able to find ourselves something to make us feel better about next year. Now, what's our plan going to be? What is your plan for James Harden to move him? Like I find, like Chrome said, I find the sign and trade extremely hard because who's begging for it? I know there's always a team out there, but I'm telling you guys, there isn't though. How many teams out there can really not only afford him, but want to pay him that kind of money?
That's why I think he stays in Philly, just because of the money situation. I really do. Because look at, like I was saying with the free agency market in the point guard and the point guard realm of the free agency, there's nothing out there outside of Kyrie, to be completely honest, that you're going to go all in for.
McMillan.
So do you guys, I'll start with you, Tom. Do you buy into the Rockets thing at all? Because they would have the cap space. They can literally
they had stupid money this offseason.
They can trade for him and then trade the.
They wouldn't even trade for him. They don't have to. They have the money just to sign him. They don't need to do a sign and trade. That's the difference with Houston. That's what screws us with Houston.
The only difference is,
Houston,
if there's like a bidding war for him. Yeah, if there's a bidding war for him, then it gets a little bit interesting. But if he leaves and he's just like, I'm not playing the game with the Sixers, I'm just going to sign with them outright. Then they could do that. Right.
Yeah.
The reason why the Jimmy was a signing trade, because Miami didn't have enough money, but once you get the signing trade done, you move pieces here and there, then it's you're willing to do it. But with Houston, they got a buttload of money this offseason to where they don't even need to do any of the signing trades, and they can just sign them outright when July comes.
I was saying this earlier. I've been looking at this team, and again, nobody.
I know who I want.
Okay, go ahead. In a sign and trade for Harden, or are you just talking in general? Just somebody?
No, just in general. I'm going to wait on it, but I mean,
okay.
I think we have to remove ourselves from the sign and trade with Harden. I think that should just be off the table. I don't think there's a realistic way to make that happen unless I'm missing a certain team that would fall in love with him. Houston's got the money just to pay him outright, so they can pay him the most. They have the space for it. So everybody else is talking about when me and Chrome were 35, 40, 42. They're all around that same boat. So why would a team that can sign him anyway do a sign and trade for him?
They wouldn't.
To give up. You know what I mean? We would have to sign him and then say, okay, now we'll take calls for him. That's hard to do. Because if you sign him, it's then hard to then flip him like that.
Now, if Phoenix wanted him, that would need to be a sign and trade. But again,
so you're going to trade for a 39-year-old Chris Paul? That's even.
No. Apparently, they're going to bring Paul back because they're guaranteeing. His money
my God, that's even terrible. That's even.
I
worse.
agree. I don't know why they would guarantee that.
But my point was, what assets does he have that make it worth your while to trade him?
The team, and again, this has not been rumored at all. A team, as a Sixers fan, I want to get involved because they have a lot of players I would like. And I think he makes sense on them because they really don't have somebody that can facilitate and run the team while also score, is the Pelicans, right? Like if there's a world, and I'm not saying the guy we're getting back is perfect, but it's more about like freeing some things up, where you can do like a Harden to the Pelicans for McCollum and like Herb Jones, something. Say it again.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
I would love it, right? Because McCollum's the primary ball handler, and he also is not afraid. I think he would help Maxey. Herb Jones is exactly what you need. Also, don't know if they're going to be able to pay him because they have Trey Murphy. They have a bunch of things they got to do, right? The Pelicans. I think he would be perfect with Ingram and Zion Williamson. That is if Zion Williamson never plays basketball again. You could also do a thing where it's like a 3-teamer. I know we're really getting in the weeds where Harden ends up on Houston. We send like the Pelicans. The Pelicans get like Jalen Green or Porter, and then we end up with McCollum, like you know what I'm saying, and Deshaun Tate.
I'm not trying to laugh at this, but this is like a lot. Like it's all stuff. Like we're talking about another team tangoing or 2 teams tangoing for like I could see maybe the New Orleans, but like McCollum's good. So like, I don't know why they would be wanting to move on from him. Makes sense for James Harden. It doesn't, if Zion's healthy, then they think they're going to be really good, right? So I don't know.
New Orleans was a top 3 seed for the first 2 months of the season.
And I just hope it's going to happen. We're just having fun with this.
I just hope he opts out and walks and just opens up money for us. Yeah. Like that's the best bet. Like that's the most realistic bet is he just opts out. We're not willing to match what other teams are willing to pay him, right? And now we got $40 million to go spend. That gets you players. I'd rather take 2 guys at 22 million, right? Like a wing guy and whatever, right? You know what I mean? I'm just talking. I'd rather take 2 guys at like B type players, right, than pay him. Like I'd rather fill holes than pay him. It just makes more sense for us.
To everybody saying like, okay, who's our option if Harden moves on at point guard? Again, I don't love it. We've seen glimpses of this, but who says they just won't turn it over to Tyrese Maxey?
It has to be.
I was going to say he needs to become a facilitator, right? We know he can be on ball. The guy just needs to make improvements with facilitating and getting people in spots.
Listen, you're too small lineup wise, in my opinion. And defensively, when it's Maxey and Harden out there, like it's too small and not good enough defensively. Tyrese Maxey got to be a point guard. He's got to figure it out. He's so quick. He's so explosive. He can run the pick and roll. He's young. He can continue to grow into it. He's playing with the MVP of the league, which helps you in that process. Okay. And just give him the keys to it. Give him the keys. Right. And then fill in around that. Right. I would rather have, like I said, I'll keep saying, I'd rather have Tobias, Maxey, and Embiid and some other guys filling that money in than Harden. I'd rather be a little bit more spread out as a team than top-loaded at this point. The top-loader doesn't play for me anymore in this league. I think we're seeing it more and more. You got to be spread out a little bit.
Not when they don't show up.
Oh, yeah, that too.
You know what I mean? You're not when, especially one's aging, right? I mean, James Harden, regardless of he's just slow anymore.
Well, how are we competing with what we're watching? Miami, per se,
we can't.
Or Boston. How are we winning that series unless – because they're all long. Make sense? They bring in a bench of guys who can shoot it, guys who can D up, so they have options, not nightly.
And their old wily vet Kyle Lowry just facilitates. He's not lent on to be a scorer like he was in Toronto, right? He just facilitates to your point to those shooters, to Max Strus in the corner, to Gabe Vincent in the corner, right? You know what I mean? And then of course you got Jimmy driving. So yeah, I mean you're right. You need something different. Right, Maxey brings that difference, and you heard Doc talk all the time, or at times in the playoffs. We need to play faster. We don't need to walk the ball up, James. 8 seconds in the backcourt, and then start our offense right on the other side of the half court line to where you're limited with space. You need to get out and expand the floor as much as you can.
No, you're 100% spot on. Doc didn't like it. Sam didn't like it. And this is part of the feud on why he's not here, which leads to make you believe that all the talk of moving from James Harden isn't going to happen.
If I'm no,
if you're reading the tea leaves,
right?
If
those rumors are one or the other is right, then they made the choice, and it's the wrong choice.
If I'm looking at the situation and I'm looking at how do you reconstruct this team in a way that allows them to compete, in my opinion, through the rest of Joel Embiid's high-end years, which you're looking at 3 to 4 years, right? I know we've talked about this before. As much as I love Tyrese Maxey, I think when Embiid is gone, it is really hard to build your team around Tyrese Maxey. So if I'm looking at how I would love to see Harden walk. I would love to somehow do a sign and trade with Dallas and trade them Maxey and Tobias for Kyrie. And then I would go out and I would sign someone like a Fred VanVleet, who's a free agent this offseason. And I think with those three, with the role players in place, I think you could ball out with anybody in the league.
Super small though.
Yeah, Chrome. I was with you until you said VanVleet. I was
super
with
small
you.
in that backcourt. I'm not saying
you somehow got smaller.
Work, but you got
smaller and more volume. Like the premise of what you're saying worked until you said him. Until you said him, I was there.
D'Angelo Russell's another name out there.
Oh, it's getting
I'm
worse.
just throwing names out there of free agent point guards.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I'd rather bring Dennis Schroeder in for $2 million.
There's one thing this team needs.
Length.
More cowbell.
You guys want to know who it is?
More cowbell.
You want to get yourself. Yeah, you want to get yourself there. You want Draymond Green. You go find a way to get Draymond Green and accountability in the house and a goddamn winner and a guy who's going to play defense, right? You want to do it? That's how you start it. Now you need more than that. You understand? I'm not like you don't get the offensive side, but you get a pure winner. When you hear the way they talk about him there, right? When you hear the way they talk about him from his head coach, tells you a lot even more. You don't have to like the player, right? I don't care what anybody says. If you watch basketball, he was the heart and soul of that basketball team for all their runs. All their runs, he's the heart and soul. He's got the toughness in him. He's the guy who can hold guys accountable in the locker room. It's simple, and he does it.
Will they take PJ Tucker?
I don't know how you get it done. I don't know. I'm just talking.
I'm just saying.
I don't have a trade machine.
But Tommy, you're onto something there though, because the Warriors essentially have to blow it up too.
They have to start that.
They have to start moving and shaking. So it's like, would they take a PJ Tucker in a sign and trade? You know what I mean? Because that he's obviously not making as much as Draymond potentially could, but it would give them that same toughness that they potentially have to lose.
Yeah, I'm all for like toughness and all that stuff, right? Championship pedigree. I also need guys to make shots, right? I'm not saying Draymond can't. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Well, I'm not. I preface that by saying you need to add obviously around him. It's not like Draymond Green and then you're going to a championship, right? You obviously have to add shooting. It's not as simple as just like, okay, you get Draymond and you're winning.
Well, Draymond's not going to leave Golden State unless you're giving him a healthy contract is my word.
You got to give everybody a healthy contract in the league.
No, but like more than PJ. Like we're going to look at PJ and saying, oh, that was actually like 20 cents on the dollar in comparison to Draymond.
True, but he's also, it's not hard to be a good amount younger than PJ too, right? So, PJ's going to be 39. I think Draymond's 35 probably.
That's a good question.
In that range, I don't know, but obviously he's not just one person. I'm not clamoring. I just think that would be something that what else are we going to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we would but better options. Like, I'd rather go in a direction that I haven't gone before than what? Like, I need guys who can D guys up at an elite level too.
Turn Tobias into 2 players and a pick.
Yeah, you could obviously do that as well. right? If you made that type of move. So there's a lot of other things I would do after that. Like it wouldn't just be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. No, Tobias is gone. I'm bringing in shooters. Like I'm going. Listen, you can't recreate Golden State, but I'm putting them with the MVP of the league here. I'm not like putting him with chump change. He's got Max. He's got him. Right. So he's not coming in with nothing around him. And you're building around Draymond Green. You're putting that piece around those two guys, and then you trade the bias, and that opens up some other guys you can bring in. Right, guys? You know what I mean? I'm just thinking of ways to make us maybe better. I don't have the exact answer. We're going to be talking about. Thanks for the super
Draymond would be great. He brings heart. He brings defense. He can shoot a little bit.
Can't believe we're having this conversation like that. I don't even know. Caden, thank you for the super chat. We'll talk about coaches in a few.
I'm talking myself more and more into Kyrie Irving right now.
Yeah, me too. I could do that too. Guys I really don't love. You know what I mean? I'm now talking myself in the guys that I really don't love. Like, I like Draymond. I'm not like,
maybe the earth is flat. I mean,
whatever it is.
Have we ever really flown all the way around? I mean, maybe it is flat. Maybe there is an ending on the earth. Who knows? I can buy into it.
Listen, there's some days you walk around Center City and you might question if that is an actual thing.
Some days?
Trying to be nice to our fam out here.
All right. Well, I told everybody we're gonna go to a quick commercial, but before that, when we come back, we're going to be talking about everybody's plans for Embiid. I don't know. I'm not gonna we shouldn't just keep circling the Harden wagon here, right? I think we all have a bad feeling on what's happening here. So we'll get back. We'll talk about our plans for Joel Embiid moving forward, our plans for Tobias Harris, and our head coaching options, and then who do we want? Right, there's some good names out there. So who does everybody want? I'm good with like 2 or 3 names. So which is good news, I guess. I don't know. We'll be right back.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
There you have it. Book today. So to a man, even though we don't want Harden here, I feel like we all sort of think he's back, right? So when we're sort of constructing on what we think it's going to be. Do we all feel like that's what it's going to be, consensus wise, that he's sort of back? Even though I know I disagreed, right? Right? I mean, other guys disagreed. But what are we saying? Consensus? What's our consensus with him?
Yeah, I think that if he is somehow gone, it's because the team drastically overpaid for him, and I think we will all celebrate.
I agree.
That is the only way. Because if this report with Chris Paul is true, that the Suns are going to bring him back and they're going to guarantee that money, that would make very little sense for them to get Harden. It's basically how desperate are the Houston Rockets to do this?
He doesn't really fit anywhere else.
Yeah, unless because
on the surface,
right? Unless there's always a team that's like, like that wants to get really creative, but.
I wonder if a team like the Timberwolves, though, right? Like you look at Minnesota, they've kind of circled through guards, and I'm not saying this is just pure speculation, right? But what if they were looking for a big name guy to get to team up with Cat and Anthony Edwards?
So what we end up? Are you saying just flat out? Like
I'm just literally throwing something against the screen. You know what I mean? But as a team that might shock me, that would come out in favor of James Harden.
If that's the case, we're getting Conley back, right? Like because
probably they would have to, money match.
Yeah, it would be Conley plus maybe the other McDaniels, right? So now we have both of them. Even though I think
going into the summer this year, Houston is going to have $65 million to play with.
And all reports are they're going to trade that pick because it's not going to be Scooter Wembanyama. They're thinking about moving. They're going to shop Green and Porter, And they're looking at, okay, a sign Harden plus a trade of either the player, like one of the top players, or the pick for like his running mate with.
It just seems like so much to do.
It's a mess. It's a freaking mess.
I find that hard. I find that not happening. You know what I mean? And I find it hard to sell to your fan base in a way where you have two young guys who can play. You got another pick coming in, right? Like it's
There's
hard.
A lot
like
of young players that can play too. They almost have too many, right? Like they
want this guy back. Like, you know what I mean? As a fan base, I don't know if I'm a Houston fan, I want no parts of him coming back. The real ones down there probably want no parts of him coming back. I don't know how, because people are smart enough. Like, it's not the same guy. So they realize that. So there's no way that you can sell that to a fan base, in my opinion, by getting rid of all of your youth and saying, all right, we brought Harden back again. We couldn't get over the hump before, but we're going to try it again. I feel like a lot of people get fired quickly.
I have a weird feeling that what they're trying to do is do like a duo going into next year, which I don't think is going to win anything, is Harden, one of either Jalen or Porter, whichever one they don't trade, Jabari, and Karl Anthony Towns. I think that's what they think they're going to do. Right? Because that's the only guy that's not a guard that is like maybe tradable. Right? And I don't think that wins anything in the West. Is it better? Sure, but you don't really have to do much to get better from where they are.
Yeah. All right. So Harden's here.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
All right. Our plans for Joel Embiid is everybody believes Joel Embiid is back.
I think he's here as long as Daryl's here. I think if Daryl Morey got fired yesterday, then I'm like, okay, they're blowing it up. Daryl's not going to be here during a blow up, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're trading Embiid.
No, I don't see a way where they could trade Embiid and get closer to a championship next year.
Nothing would get you closer next year.
No.
You'd be 3 to 5 years away again. Yeah. And I think they would rather feel like they have a chance to win than go in that direction right now.
We're running it back, boys.
Greg?
Yeah, I know. I'd probably listen more this off season.
Hell yeah.
Than before, but I think he's ultimately back, right? I mean, I think you're right in a sense of if you're keeping everything else together, then he's obviously here, right? If it was full blow up city, then there might be more of a situation that he might be moved. But yeah, I mean, I think he's here. Doesn't make sense to bring Harden back and not have him here.
To me, the only trade I came up with, because for everyone saying, oh, it's going to be Bam and Hero, like I get it, right? Like it's Jimmy and Embiid. I'm not okay with Bam Adebayo being the best piece in an Embiid deal. Like I'm sorry.
Or should you?
No, that's freaking
not
ridiculous.
Enough.
That's ridiculous. I don't care how many picks.
They don't have the guy to give us. So let's just call it out what it is. If they had like a Mikal Bridges type, right, where you felt like you were getting back somebody with a high upside, sure. They have good complementary pieces that they're giving you back, then you don't have the piece. So listen, I'm all up for listening because I think you're at the point of time now where you have to listen. But I don't think there's any way, like we talked about early on, that Joshua Harris would sign off on that right now.
Would you guys?
Which he would have to.
Right.
Would you
that
guys?
One you have to. Yeah.
Would you guys think about this deal? Okay. It's us and the Grizzlies. Okay, and we're not getting Morant. It's to pair Embiid with Morant. Okay?
I would take Morant and all the Pistols.
Oh, sure. Listen, if there's a way I could get Morant with Embiid, I'll do that too. I'll play that game.
Well, real quick, before you say this, is Dylan Brooks a free agent?
Yes.
I want Dylan Brooks.
He is a free agent.
I want Dylan Brooks. You know, I forget the Draymond conversation. I want Dylan Brooks. I've always liked Dylan Brooks at Oregon. I like his toughness. I like his swagger. I like he don't give a shit who he's playing against. I know he struggled in the last series there, but their leader stinks. Okay? And what I mean by stinks is off the court created so much distraction that you follow the leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think Dylan Brooks would be a great, not a great player, but a really good addition this offseason. That would make me feel better about my wing toughness, right? My wing toughness. And can shoot the three. and get to the basket. As aggressive, right? Like I'm just looking for junkyard dogs. I'm looking. How can I start?
41. He's a 41% career shooter.
I was about to say, outside of
Game's
this series and stuff, he was actually a pretty decent shooter. He knocked down an open shot.
He's always shot well. Back to his career at Oregon. Like, how much does Dylan Brooks cost me? Can I afford Dylan Brooks? Like
his market definitely took a hit in the last month. That helped our case.
Good.
His annual AVA this year was $11 million.
Let's see.
So
what do they have?
For 7? Want to come here for 7?
Yeah.
I'll give you a home so you have to go to Taiwan.
Let's see. Do they have
my God.
what his estimated AAV will be? No, they don't.
I'm not asking him to be Harden, guys. I'm trying to put some pieces around the MVP that can make us better. If you don't think Dylan Brooks' addition doesn't help us, then I don't know, guys. I don't know. We look at one series and like, well, this guy can't play. Dylan Brooks can play a little bit. We're not asking him to do the things Memphis asked him to do, right? Like, don't tell me he's like super slow either. He's tough. He's physical. I'm not telling you he's running a 4 flat. You know what I mean? Like, right? I'm not telling you he's doing the shuttle in 3.2. I'm telling you, Dylan Brooks is good. Yeah, Dylan Brooks is a good
on those
player.
days against when he was on Oregon. He was pretty quick back then.
He's a good player. Dylan Brooks is a good player. That's all I'm saying to people. He's good. I'm not crowning him. Okay, that's not $25 million a year. Philly sports make is nothing in the NBA. It's nothing. It's nothing. Most decent players get $25 million a year. So you won't play Dylan Brooks $25 million a year? Man, you're wild. You're wild, but you. Oh my God, I can't deny. We don't want we. There's solutions, and no matter what solution, won't make anybody happy. No matter what we set, we could blow it up. People aren't happy. We could make little moves. People aren't happy. If you don't think Dylan Brooks would have helped us this playoff series, I think you're misguided.
Yeah, I mean, we went through, 4 wings? We went all the way down the depth chart to find Danielle House to give us length or production off of our wings. You know what I mean? Like, Jaden McDaniels, as much as he might be, a good young player.
Doesn't know how to play basketball.
He's not there yet.
Doesn't know how to play basketball. Literally, he's what Paul Reed was last year.
He got passed up by Danielle House.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant's an interesting name. I just don't know that he's going to be affordable.
Well, do you do this? Ethan's saying you trade Embiid for Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, and the number 3 pick. Do you say yes or no?
Well, it all depends on who the number 3 pick's going to be. Are you going to get Brandon Miller or are you going to get Scoot? Preferably, I like Scoot more than Brandon Miller. But,
I'll take either one.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think either one. I think the best chance you have.
Scoot over Miller.
I'm not going to say. I think. Okay. I think San Antonio. Just be careful. Just be careful.
I just want to see him stay healthy.
Yeah, like I think the other 2 guys are going to be better. I do. I don't like Brandon Miller's whole, stuff there, right? That happened because I don't know enough about it. But as a player, he's sensational. Okay, and the other dude's a pimp too. So the other guy played with a bunch of croissants. You know what I mean? A bunch of croissants. So I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is. He's big. He looks freakish. Cool story. His ears are weird. I don't know. His smile irked me. Like his smile seemed a little creepy to me. I think he stinks. I'm just going out on a limb. I got nothing else to do.
Brendan, they're not going to take Tobias Harris for the former number 2 overall pick, Jalen Green.
Who?
Not going to happen.
Houston.
That's the Houston. They're not
Jeremy Grant is a sign and trade too, I think, right?
He's a free agent or restricted or something.
James, you want to go to Portland? James? Portland, James?
No, he's unrestricted too. So you can
I mean, this lineup, Brendan, that lineup would be
Come on,
awesome.
James. You can go to Portland. There's strip clubs there.
The Memphis thing. Okay.
I don't have a problem with the Frenchies. I swear.
I love French fries.
Yeah.
Would you guys even think about this? The Grizzlies get Embiid, just Embiid. If they want like a second, like fine, I don't do the second round picks.
Oh, we're still on the Embiid trading? Okay.
Well, because it's the only one where I'm like, hey, maybe I'll think about it, right? Like I don't even know if it's realistic. Who knows?
Well, do you do the last one? Do you do the last one with Portland? If you're getting Brandon Miller, say it's Brandon Miller as a 3 pick. Say you're getting Brandon Miller. You get Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, and Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I think, but then that fits like the blowing it up, taking a step back to take a step forward type thing. Yeah. Like, do I think we're closer to a championship? No, but I'm fine with it. I'd rather do that than give Harden a 4-year deal. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. See, I don't know. I got myself a week and so removed from it.
Yeah.
And
we were there on Sunday.
Yeah, like I don't know if I can. I almost need more than that. Like
well,
you
would need more picks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the picks thing I don't even factor in because the picks thing is broken because of Rudy Gobert. I need like 8 first rounds.
Yeah. I might need your next 20.
Yeah,
because of Rudy. But the players wise is intriguing.
It's fun.
If it's Brandon Miller, I need Brandon Miller though. I think that has to be the piece that I feel like, okay, I have a potential star. I thought he played good. I thought he played right, Greg. I thought he played good in March,
he was the
right?
best player in basketball.
Tom, I'll tell you what.
But I think he showed up in the tournament. Is my point,
yes,
right?
He definitely
he played.
Yeah.
He played well in the tournament. And that's telling, right? Unlike Benjamin.
No, he's got to even get there.
Well,
no,
just
Tom,
see if you get a guy with a little peanuts or not. You know?
Tom, it'll be a really fun 5 seed next year, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it'll be a fun 5 seed.
Yeah, I think they're definitely a 5 seed because you saw Maxey. You saw Maxey. I think they're a 5 seed.
I won't be disrespectful and call them a 9 seed because the East still kind of sucks, right? Like the East sucks.
Marcus, he did. He did. He did.
Oh,
like guys go to bed. Like I was getting tired. Like I might take a nap. I mean, what is he talking about? What is Daryl Morey talking about? Okay, give us the Memphis.
So the Grizzlies getting beat. If they want other second round picks, fine. God bless. We get Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Steven Adams, Kenny Lofton, and I have us with 3 first round picks. If
Kenny
you want
Lofton
more
for the Phillies.
No, Kenny Lofton, G League Player of the Year behind B-Ball Paul, G League Player.
Yeah, I don't. I take option 1.
Okay.
Over that, I think I'm getting
Portland.
better. Yeah, I think I'm getting better players with Portland. I'm getting I like Jaren Jackson, like I like Desmond Bane, but they're not. That's almost like Bam and Hero in a way. Like it's not like Jaren Jackson is better than Bam, but like I don't know what he like. You don't understand what I'm saying. It doesn't blow me away. We're like Anthony Simons and Shaden Sharp. I feel like I get a little more firepower and more upside with firepower than the other deal. And I'm getting the 3 pick already. So I feel like that's 1 or 2 guys. That just feels better. But I do like Bane and I like Jaren Jackson. I do. I think they're good players. So I just don't know because now I don't know what that pick is. Right, guys? That's where I'm like,
It sucks because the other team that you might want to look at is OKC, but they're not going to give up Gilgeous. You know what I mean? They're not going to give up Shea. So at that point, you're like, all right, I'm walking away because that's the ticket, right?
It would be Giddy Chet and like 9 picks.
Yeah, it would be Giddy Chet, and
which like I'll think about. I like Giddy.
Yeah, I'll do a background check on the. I'll get a medical real quick on Chet. Like,
well, you know he's not staying healthy here.
No.
He doesn't. Remember how we talked about
with our medical staff.
Tom, remember a couple years ago when people were like, "Oh, let's trade for Derrick Rose," and we were like, "He gets injured getting off the plane." Chet gets injured getting on the plane. Okay, like he doesn't make it on the plane.
I like Chet though. Like
so do I. Yeah,
if he can put 20 pounds on and. Yep. 20, 30 pounds. I don't need him to be.
Hey, we're good at the Chick-fil-A diets in Philly. Just do that. Yeah. Just watch Embiid tape from 2018. Yep. We can do it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, Martian, I'm not trading him for Chet. No. I like even the Portland one, which I'm intrigued by. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can pull that trigger.
I think the purpose of this exercise is to find something where we would not like literally hang up the phone and throw away the phone. Right? Like the Blazers one we're thinking about. The Grizzlies one we're not like offended by. Right? Like the people that are saying like
I'm a little offended. I'm a little offended.
The Grizzlies one?
Yeah, I'm a little offended. Because then you give me the pistol. Like if you're calling about Joel, you better load the holster up, right? And bring them on over that. Because I want all a job. To want to tell you that? I'll take all a job. Like AI's back in town. I'm cool with it.
That guy's like AI and Westbrook in the same body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm pairing him up with the MVP. That's not nice. I don't know. I
saw a video the other day of Tawana Braden.
Me too.
Braden,
me too.
On the sideline. I'm like, oh, I missed
it. Like if the Grizzlies call me with that, I said, hold on. That's what you gave me with MVP in the league, and you think you're keeping Ja? You better send them on over to Philly, babe.
You know what I laugh at? I laugh at the people saying, the team that makes the perfect sense, the Knicks. It's like, why? So I can get the ghosts of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett?
Yeah, but you're not doing that in the division.
No.
Like they're in the same division, not even the same conference as well, but the same division. There's like Boston. You're not like, okay, how can I get Jaylen Brown? Right? Like that would be my real question. How can I get Jaylen Brown? But
the other team that might be intriguing, just because they had a really great year and they know they need a difference maker. Well, I mean, I love Kuminga. If there's a way to get Kuminga out of
really, that does it for you. Kuminga, Poole, and a couple firsts does it for you.
No, not just that. I mean,
it would be Wiggins too. More. It would be Wiggins.
Yeah,
too.
give me Wiggins.
I don't want any part of it though. I don't want any part of it. No.
I just think Kuminga is young enough to give you some hope. But I think the Kings are another decent thought.
Well, who you give me, De'Aaron?
Well, I don't think they get rid of De'Aaron. I think it starts with Sabonis.
No. You can hang up on you then right now. Like that's the same thing with Memphis.
I'm just saying another team that might.
No, I like your style.
Want to mix it up because hey, we just got beat by the Warriors with what we have, so we got to. Hey, if you're willing to deal, I would love to bring Fox here. I just don't think they do it, right?
No, of course not.
Like OKC, kind of like
I'm hanging up.
Yeah.
I'm hanging up.
No question.
You want the best player voted in by, right? Then you better back the Brinks up, and you better give me your best player.
Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray and Sabonis to start with.
No, because now your picks don't matter to me for 10 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then your picks don't matter. If I'm getting the picks back, that's why Miami would work because they're going to get old quick, right? But the other ones really don't work unless you're giving me their best player that's younger, where they're trying to move on. Like, that's why Memphis is intriguing, and I maybe pick up the phone. Say, yo, you good? You good? We got a couple extra holsters over here. You guys want to talk? We'll talk. We'll talk it up. And then because that dude's a game changer. He's generational if somebody can fix the extra, right? Maybe somebody here can, right? I don't know. Like we're looking for anything at this point. I'm not trading Joel though. I think I'm good with just. I'll ride it out.
Can I give you one more team?
Jimmy's age is a lot.
Oh my God! Another team? No. Oh my God! No, I'm joking with Rob. Another team? Come on, what team now? I'm probably hanging up on this team too.
I'm gonna go back to my friends, the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm gonna go back there.
Hang up.
Brandon Ingram,
Ingram, Trey Murphy, ton of picks. They have all the Lakers picks too. Reminder of that.
Well, it depends how many.
Lakers are going to stink next year.
Well, it depends how many picks you're giving me from them.
There he is.
I don't know. I don't want to trade him, I don't think.
Oh, neither do I. I'm just saying, like, we're trying to find the one deal that, like, is the, okay, we have to trade, like, the panic.
John Morant.
Okay.
Because that's the one that makes the most sense because that's a star for a star because there's a problem going on, right? That's a star for a star. Like if Joel wants out, you make sense? If Joel wants out like that and he demands something, you don't have a no trade clause. You can send him wherever the hell you want to send him to. It's hey Memphis, because the rest of it doesn't put me over the top. If I go get John Morant, I'm still a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference if he plays. But whatever, I'll take a shot at it if the guy really wanted out. That has to be Joel coming and saying, get me out of here. I got no time playing with Harden no more.
Expired user. Well, let's wait for him to get pissed off in Dallas, then we can talk.
Tell you what, John Morant wouldn't last very long in Philadelphia. He's going to be brandishing weapons around this area.
Branch away for 40 in a game 7. I'm just joking, but flash away if you show up with 5 minutes left to go in game 6. I might hop on your IG with you. We get through the Eastern Conference Final. We're all like, hey! I'm making light of it because in reality, like JJ Redick said, I think JJ's an idiot at the time, but nothing he's done essentially been found illegal. He's just an idiot. He's just stupid. He's just stupid. Like, he's just stupid. But I'll take a young, stupid guy with that kind of potential if my best player said, hey, I'm trying to get out of here. Make sense? Like, I'm trying to get out of here. Okay. Well, we'll get you out of here then.
Vitaly, I don't think anyone wants Trae Young here.
But no parts of Trae Young is
No.
Trae Young and Maxey, holy hell, no
No,
defense.
I would take Give me Murray.
Oh.
Have we figured out a trade that'll get us out of the second round yet?
Okay, what would you need to give me? Murray, Collins.
Yeah, they would ask for us to take on that contract.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on.
Murray, Collins, and 105 picks.
I'll tell you what, the Trae Young and Embiid pick and roll will be very, very nice in Atlanta. Which is why, like, can we get Young to go along with Embiid? Then I might talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think I trade him there either, guys.
No.
It's not like horrendous, but it's like
he's staying here unless he gets pissed off with Daryl again.
I think that's
he's
where
going by his own accord, right? And if that happens, he's probably gonna have 2 teams on his list, and it's probably gonna be one of the California teams and Uncle Jim. Right, like that's probably what it's going to be.
Yeah, but you don't have. My point is, it's not like baseball. Like you don't with these guys, you don't have a no trade.
True.
Like,
right.
So you can send where the hell you want to send them. He can ask for a trade, and say okay, and that's where I call Memphis immediately. The second Joel Embiid comes to my office looking for a trade, that's the first team I call, and I say, hey, you guys interested in the big fella, the MVP of the league? What do you got over there? Give me Jackson, give me Ja, and we'll call it a day. Give me Jackson and Ja, and now we're awesome. And I got Maxey, and Ja. We're like, you can't even see nobody.
The cameras won't be able to keep up.
Can't see me.
You can keep Tobias at that point. I don't give a damn. No, you can keep him. Put him in a corner. Who cares?
Oh, goodness gracious. This is where we're at. All right, so Embiid staying. So.
All right, 2 down. So
Harden and Embiid are back. We're running it back. Okay, now this becomes the interesting one, right? And that would become one Tobias Harris. And I think, and then you guys go, but I think the best course of action, depending on what the offers are, right? Like I need to hear offers before I can make a decision because I need to see what that money ties my hands with down the road. Because at the end of next year, he's gone, and that's a max contract off your books, which gives you the flexibility to go, oh, who wants to play with Embiid? Anybody want to play with Joe? Anybody? Oh. And now maybe you can go find that guy you were looking for, right? So that's the way my brain first works with Tobias. Because I'm not anti-Tobias. Like, I'm just not. I think Tobias is probably one of the tougher guys we have. And that's not, I'm not saying that's saying a lot, but he played great defense again for a second playoffs in a row. And I just think like we get caught up in his scoring when he doesn't, the offense doesn't run through him at all. Like we can't even talk about his scoring when you're the goddamn 4th or 5th option on a basketball team that has so much volume that goes through Joel's volume, Harden's volume, and Maxey's volume. There ain't no, we talk about there's only one basketball.
That's the thing that sucks is that if he goes to 20 other teams, he's a much better even-keeled player because his game. This is why we wanted to trade for him from LA. He's got to have control in the offense. I'm not saying he's like the on-ball kind of like a point forward type thing, but he's got to have way more touches than just a fourth fiddle type player, right? The goal is to find people if you are going to deal him is that you can get the best out of where they just catch, shoot, or that can defend, right? That don't need, 10, 11, 12, up to 15 shots to get going, right? That they are better, okay, I'm taking 9 shots a night if that, and I'm going to thrive in that. But I can also give you things elsewhere. And also it is going to be cheaper, right?
I would love that. Caden says Tobias for DeMar DeRozan. I'm in. Now, again, more of a mid-range guy. Okay. Not saying he can't shoot the 3. Like I'm not saying that.
But he's
right?
butter from Midi.
But yeah, it's like Monte Ellis.
Only 1 year of him. So
OG Monte Ellis.
I'll do it because it's not like I'm getting 4 years DeMar. I'm only getting this year.
Okay, so so that's expiring for
so it's a swap.
Yeah.
It's a 1-for-1 basically.
Hey, we gotta reshake some things. Then.
All right, well, that's not like I'm all in for that one. So like I said, if you guys give me names that I think can help us and change some things, sure, I'll put a flyer out on DeMar for a year.
The one that I think is more realistic, it's Tobias Harris for a pick, Buddy Hield, and TJ McConnell.
What's the pick? I mean, what?
First round pick in 2024.
TJ.
From who? Indiana?
Yep. And for if anyone's wondering why Indiana would do it, Indiana every year, both deadline and offseason, have been linked to Tobias Harris.
All right. So I'll get Buddy.
So you get Buddy, TJ, and a pick for Tobias.
Okay. I need to know how much longer Buddy has on his contract before I say yes.
He's got 2 more years left.
No, one year at 19 mil.
Hmm.
That's the thing. You're not. None of them are bad.
TJ is 1 year or 2.
2 years at 8.7.
Okay, whatever. All right, yeah, and then I get a first out of it, and then I get out of the money, and then I'm out of the money anyway after a year. Yeah, sure, that works. If I get a first in 2024, which can be a very, very good pick, yeah, sign me up. I don't know why they would do that, but if they will, I'm in. But it's Indiana. French lick. Lick away. I know, Martian. That's the deal. How do I get myself Paul George or Kawhi Leonard?
I think the team that makes the most sense of like who would want Tobias is actually Dallas. The thing that sucks, like if you could do like Tyrese and Tobias for Kyrie, then yeah, right? Like we talked about that. Would you guys do Tobias for like Tim Hardaway, like Bullock and a pick? Like Hardaway, you're getting 2 years at 17.8.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason
I think he would help them too.
The reason I say yes,
you're getting 2 shooters.
I'm getting 2 players. Yeah, I'm getting 2 players that are similar to each other. So I'm getting a little bit deeper. That's all. I'm just getting a little bit deeper. I'm not in love with it, but I'm a little bit deeper than I was yesterday.
And you're getting bigger too, because say for example, Hardaway's starting for you at the 2, right? So you're going. I can't say that though because Harden's probably gonna be back, right? So that shuffles it. So then that kind of makes okay if Hardaway's starting, even though he's 6'5", is he going to be a 6'5" small forward, right? So maybe Hardaway's coming off your bench, whatever. I think
6'7", 6'8",
6'6".
He plays
He's
he's the same size.
I think he plays the 3.
6'6", 205. But at least he's lengthy. No, Ethan, it would be a sign and trade for Kyrie. Ethan, we know he's a free agent.
Ryan, let me know if the money works. Does the Poole Kuminga for Tobias work? Like, not thinking Joel, but does Poole Kuminga for Tobias work?
No, that I'll think about. I'll put up with the Jordan Poole thing if we do that. All right, Poole making 28.7 over the next 4 years. Tobias going the other way, and
let's get Poole a little love for a second, even though he had a terrible postseason. He's better off the pine. Okay, when he gets thrusted into like that starting role and those types of things, I think if he was just a 6-man for a team like he was last year for them, he's in a better situation because he was starting most of the year. You know what I mean? Because there was no Wiggins, I think, right? So they were like,
they had a lot of
no Curry too. Curry was
no Curry.
He's better when there's no Curry.
Yeah, I think Poole's good, right? I think Poole's good, and
he's good with his own team.
Him and Melton. The Anthony Melton off your bench is pretty good. It's pretty good. Like I'm like, okay, I got good guard play at least. I got an opportunity to get instant offense, and I don't. So like, I'm all in. I that one for Tobias, like I'm all in for it. I guess.
Greg, it works.
There you go. I mean, Kuminga's young. Poole. I mean, both of those guys are young, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is also what you're looking for, right? Young guys that can grow.
Yeah. With Joel, with the 49-year-old James Harden, and then you have a young Tyrese Maxey. So, yeah, Gavin, we talked about DeMar. We're all in for DeMar.
Now, I don't know if I would do it because I think I don't know. I don't trust him. Would you do a Tobias plus, like you could throw in a role player too if it works, if the money works, for Randall and Fournier?
Because absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably would.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not the moron who didn't play one of my better 3-point shooters in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like Tom Tibbs did.
Yeah,
okay. So Julius Randle, I mean, he'll get a bad rap in New York. He's not option 1, nor should he be. I think anybody that had a pulse knew that. All right. And I'll take him over Tobias. You kidding me? You kidding me? Like, I'm not crown Julius Randle, but like, stop. I mean, I think he gets a bad rap just because New York. But if he came here and he was a third option, and then you got to bring, then you have to bring Tyrese off the bench. Then Maxey has to go to like a 6-man role because you need to be able to figure out how everybody gets touches if Harden was still here.
Yeah.
Right. This could happen though. I mean, Rupert, what I was going to say to all the Trailblazer stuff real quick about Joel before we circle back to Tobias, okay, is that if the freedom of the offense thing is true from James Harden, wouldn't there be a little bit of where this could happen, where he's still here and Embiid's gone to Portland and all this comes back and now he has the offensive freedom and he's got a bunch of young guards in a way? Because then you got 3 young guards. Is Sharp a 2 or a 3?
He
Yes.
is a.
I think he's just I
He's
think
a
more
3?
of a 3, but he can probably play both.
No, good then, because then you're not like too loaded up.
Yeah.
If you get Simons, Maxey, and Harden, right, and then
19.
you get that,
He's only 19. Jesus.
and then you get all that back, and then the third pick. I mean, that team's a. I'm sorry, real quick. That team's a 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
That team's a 5 seed. Young as shit. I don't love getting rid of Embiid, but if I was going to, it would be out there. It would be in the Western Conference. I can't ever trade him in the East. I don't know if that's ever going to be enough for the MVP in the league, but the third pick is enticing because at least there's hope for it.
Wait. So the 3-team trade from Glizzy. Blazers receive Embiid and DeRozan. Sixers receive 3rd overall, Nurkic, Levine. Levine. Tom's out. Bulls receive Simon, Sharp, and 3rd. No, if I was receiving like the 3rd Simons and Sharp,
yeah,
like
you can
no,
flop
like
us with the Bulls, and I'd be okay with
like
the 3rd pick.
It's backwards, Glizzy, because the Bulls are only sending DeRozan, and they're getting Simon, Sharp in the 20. Like, no, we set the MVP. We get those guys.
Yeah,
Evan, we're good. I mean, it looks like okay. So, what was the other thing we had on Tobias before we go into like some head coaching conversations?
No, the thing that sucks with Tobias is that there's really not a ton of like bad contracts that I want to take on, right? So like that's just like, oh, okay, they take on Tobias, we take on like a young player or 2 picks in a long-term contract. That kind of sucks. So no, if it's not the Pacers, the Knicks, or the Mavericks, I'm kind of good right now.
Yeah, Martian. I mean, if I could flip Tobias for Siakam, I mean, of course I would do it.
He's also on a 1-year deal.
He's my number. Like Tom, when you were talking about like your number, like guy that you just want in general here by any means by any means necessary, Siakam's my number 1.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Because if I pair him with Embiid and Embiid likes to stretch it, Siakam likes to play downhill, I think it's a perfect match. I think it brings that physicality, the rebounding, and then you sign Nick Nurse.
Like if there's is there a God where I can do a Harden Tobias to the Raptors sign and trade for freaking Siakam? Please. Is there a God that can make that happen, please? Where it's Maxey, Siakam, and Embiid? Okay, we'll get past the second round.
Okay, well, Toronto could look at it like this. They could look at, I get an expiring max deal with Tobias.
Yep.
And then I try to find somebody to pair up with Harden. I don't know. So it's tough. The Harden stuff gets tough because he's old.
Harden makes a lot of sense with a team like that because Fred, and this goes like Chrome's thing, Van Vliet.
Harden's like 35, correct?
Gotta be.
Yeah, like 34 or something.
Oh, he's only 33.
Google ages.
Yeah.
33, yeah.
He'll be 34 in August. So, I mean, in reality, like he might get that 4-year goddamn deal.
Yeah, and you know Toronto, has a hard
We're
time
stuck with them, fellas.
We're trying to get creative, Noah. Come on now. Like Harden with Barnes and the length, right? Like because Fred VanVleet wasn't a point guard for him. He just shot them out of games, right? Like that didn't make any sense. It was a volume shooter that has no, passing capability and is really freaking small and is somehow worse than Harden on defense. With a bunch of young guys with length.
Big news coming out of Golden State.
Oh.
Looks like Bob Myers is walking away from the franchise. which is huge.
Wasn't at the meeting
Which
this
is
afternoon, Ralphie. He wasn't at the meeting.
Yeah, so that just tells you that Draymond's gone.
The sides are bracing for the likelihood that Myers could walk away from the franchise.
Ooh.
They're far apart on the extension.
Yeah, general manager.
Yep.
Yeah, that tells you. That might tell you that a guy like Draymond's out too.
Is there a way we could trade Daryl for him?
No,
Bob Myers?
He did have a little easy though.
That'd be amazing.
Hey, I'll get fooled by a GM again, right, Tom? I'll do that. I was a lot happier that first year of Daryl.
Yeah, man.
Even though the guy, Bob Myers, didn't realize that they needed a freaking backup center after trading their number 3 overall pick.
Yeah. He
Like,
messed
oh,
up
wait.
there, but at least he didn't miss on the picks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even second round, right? You pulled Draymond and Jordan Poole out of the second round.
Well, for the record,
or maybe Draymond was Poole late first. I'm sorry, Poole might have been late first.
My vision gets cloudy when we hit the late first because all we've ever done is take freaking Cork Mods and TLC with those picks. Freaking Landry Shamet.
Jaden Springer. Yeah.
Well, he might be our backup point guard, right?
Well,
Be our backup point guard next year.
Oh, you find out. You know, you might have a guy can play. I mean,
He's in year 6 of a contract.
I mean, at least he got some run game 6 and 7. He's got playoff experience now.
True, Greg.
Almost had more points than Harden. Right? And
All right,
Embiid.
all right, we'll get into coaches here, right? We got to get into what coach we would like. But before we get into that, hey, Birds fans, got some huge news. Philly Sports Trips has released their Eagles schedule. Make sure you go see my friends from phillysportstrips.com and reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch a Birds game in a great city and hang with former Eagles like Hollis Thomas and the likes. Philly Sports Trips books you at the best hotels and has the best Birds available. You know you have a blast. Book now. Tell them HUD sent you. phillysportstrips.com. All right, so a lot of names out there. So if there was a time to fire a coach, I guess this would be the best time. Who's everybody's number one?
Not D'Antoni, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that one, right, Frank? I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Please no. Oh my God.
No.
If that happens, this whole thing's rigged.
Is it sad that I think that's the name I'm most confident is going to happen?
My number one, and I don't know how realistic it is and whether he would even want to, but Jay Wright is my one. I'd rather try something new than just continue to just roll through guys that are already fired for whatever reason, right? Like, not that I don't like Nick.
That would definitely be new.
You know, Monty Williams, like all those guys are really good coaches. Even Mark Jackson, like some of those guys are really good coaches. But at this point, like I'm just, give me something different. Give me something new.
Fair. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
And he's a great guards coach, as we saw at his time in Nova, right? So if there's another guy that can really work with Maxey growing up, really work, maybe get the best out of James Harden since he's probably going to be here. It might be, Jay Wright is that guards coach that he was great at Nova with.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Tom, the name I truly want is Tyronn Lue. Obviously, he's still with the Clippers. People were apparently still waiting out there to say to see if he still wants to coach there. If he becomes available, it's 2 seconds you get him. But if the guy's available, it's Nick Nurse. It's Nick Nurse.
Yeah, I'll go different. I'll be different. I'm gonna go back to a guy I wanted before Doc Rivers, and I'm gonna say Sam Cassell. And I don't think it's the same. Like people say, well, the assistant's the same. Was Rob Thompson the same? You know what I mean? Like in all reality, was Rob Thompson the same? He's on the bench with him. No, if you feel like a guy is good enough to be a head coach, then you pull the trigger like that, right? And we've seen Sam hold these guys accountable. He's a goddamn winner. All right, he's been around winning. And if you give him the keys to the castle, right, and the keys to the team, then it's his offense. It's what he wants. It's his belief. When you're the head coach, it's your beliefs. Make sense? You run the organization per se on what plays, all that stuff. So when you're an assistant, your role isn't as big. I'd rather get a young guy in here, right? A younger guy than Doc, Nurse, etc., and a guy that these guys already believe in to a point, right? And trust, then go, if I'm running it back like this, then go anything outside. Like anything outside of that would have to be like a Ty Lue, a Nurse, obviously. You know, Jay Wright's a great name. But I think Sam should have got this goddamn job before. I think he should have got the job before. I would have hired him and went to bed. I would have hired him and went to bed. I would like to see what he has. I know about the other guys already, right? Nurse, I like. I would hire him, but Kawhi won him a title. So, like Budenholzer, let's be real. All right, had a freak. So I'm going to sit you out. Ty Lue, great name. Ty Lue gets more out of less than the other guys. Okay, fair. I think we can all agree.
I don't know why people in the chat are so negative on Ty Lue. The guy has what he's done when his 2-star players don't play. I don't understand why people don't like Ty Lue. He's not Dr.
Nobody made better second half adjustments the last 2 years than Tyronn Lue. So that's just factual. If anybody likes statistics and some numbers, that's fun to go Google. But I want Sam Cassell. I want the guy I wanted previously to Doc Rivers.
I wouldn't need it.
I would love it. I would love it, especially if, I mean, it makes sense if Harden's here or if Harden's not here and you're building around Maxey. If in the slight scenario where Harden's gone and Maxey's kind of running your team, Sam Cassell is the obvious pick. Like I see people saying like, oh, D'Antoni will help Maxey, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I understand that. To me, and like Brandon said, like, can you guys explain to me why you don't want D'Antoni? Clearly the best offensive mind of the coaches mentioned, and the Sixers offense has failed in the finals 2 games against Miami and Boston. To me, it's because you're catering the head coaching search and basically the entire run of your offense to a guy who, A, is going to command a 4-year contract, 2, is not reliable at all, and 3, is 33 going to be 34 freaking years old.
Well, can we just say something about Sam Cassell, right? People want to talk about guys are great with guards, all right? Okay, great with guards. Has Tyrese Maxey got better every year?
Yeah.
So we don't fucking think that's a part of Sam Cassell and development? We don't think Doc had a part in that too? Who he doesn't develop players? Okay. Maxey couldn't shoot the 3 in college like this. All right. He's gotten way better. Part of it, he has a 1-2. The other part, he's surrounded by good coaching. So that doesn't matter. And in terms of Sam Cassell, he had a big part in that. That's a known fact that he's had a part in Tyrese Maxey's development. Well, guess what? I want Tyrese Maxey to go to another level. And I believe a guy like Sam can take him to another level. D'Antoni's 72 years old. Are we serious right now? Are we goddamn serious? Are we serious? The guy actually. So listen. Then you're talking about 2 guys in Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni that tried to reinvent the goddamn game of basketball and run a 6'8" PJ Tucker at center for a season. Knock it off. We're a better basketball city than this. We deserve better than that crap. I got no time for it. I got no time for reinventing the wheel. All right? Go with younger, right? And go with a guy that's already been a part of this organization, and you probably should have hired in the first place. I got no problem with Doc going. His history in deciding games says enough, but he ain't playing number 1 on what we watched in this series, okay?
Yeah.
But the coach ain't going to get us over the hump. Players got to, but I'll go with a young guy because I just like the way he gets on guys. You know what I mean? Don't you guys like it too? Like he don't hold back with none of these dudes.
Yeah, Brandon, I think. Well, first off, Tyrese credits Sam Cassell every chance he gets behind a microphone. Like if we're not saying like it's Sam Cassell 100% and Tyrese Maxey like 0, right? Like
you can't give coaches credit for development and then not give them credit for development. Right, you can't like have it both ways, guys. I've heard it a million times. Oh, Doc and Sam, they don't develop players. Look at Isaiah Joe. Right. Well, this guy got better with the help. We know about the all season. Brandon, if you listen, I said with a want to. When a guy has a want to, the coaching staff can help him get better. So when he said after last year and wanted to have the exit interview and find out what he could get better immediately with, right? And they had to calm him down. That has anything to do with coaches?
we can't, to your point, Tom, we can't crush coaches when we think they're the problem and not give them credit when we know they've been part of the solution, right? Like we can't, like, I understand, like, oh, the easiest thing is to blame the coach, right? But we really don't know who the biggest reason was why we didn't win the series, right? It's part of Embiid, it's part of Harden, part of Doc, part of everybody, right? We can't just put it all on the coach when things go bad and not give him credit when something actually goes good.
Development goes by watching tape. Development goes.
He was with them.
Dude,
Brandon, they were with each other.
Brandon, they practice from freaking goddamn September, essentially, or the beginning of October, all right, all the way to now. They practice. So they're around those guys longer than they're around their trainers in the off season, babe. I'm here to help you. Help yourself. So we educate. I'm here now to educate, okay? So who are they around longer? So you're telling me these guys don't practice? These guys don't work on things? Oh, my God, I can't.
There was a story in the middle of the summer. Again, Google was everybody's friend. Where it literally said that Sam Cassell, not yours, Greg, it's true. Sam Cassell and Doc Rivers had to literally lock Maxey out of the gym. They had to give him an off day. But they're not together, right? Like, come on, man. Like, if you don't want Sam Cassell, then fine. Like, if you'd rather have other people, but don't try and be like, hey, it had nothing to do with Sam Cassell. It wasn't Sam Cassell. Like, again, Google was everybody's friends. Words by the athlete can be very useful at times.
KZ, nobody's got a problem with Doc going. I got a problem when you make guys scapegoats that weren't number one blame. That's all my problem is. Make sense? Like, look the bully in the eyes, right? Look the guy who didn't show up in the eyes, and that was James Harden. All right, I don't want to hear about Joel Embiid. He's got to get the basketball. He's not a guard to riddle everybody that, right? Like, not again, Greg. We watched it, right? So did everybody else, but we were live. Okay, he wasn't good enough that day. All right. Me and Ryan messaged earlier, like, shit, he looks a little slow, right? They're like a little bit, right? So he wasn't his best that day. Okay. And I'm not excusing that. But when the going gets tough, he didn't see the basketball again. So let's just go back to game 6. He did not see the basketball in the last fucking 5 minutes of a game. And then we're not gonna look who's really to blame in the eyes, who's the point guard. We're not who's dribbling the goddamn basketball. I can't. Can
we all be honest with ourselves? Not to what you're saying, Tom, but it just in general. We all knew from the second Morey got here, because Morey got here after Doc, right? Because people freaking forget this stuff. It was the Doc Rivers hiring first. Daryl was not going to be available. It was going to be Elton Brand. Daryl became available. The second Daryl Morey could have gotten his guy, whether that's D'Antoni or whatever, he was going to do it. Like, so again, nobody's saying Doc was 100% correct or any of that stuff, but come on, like, it's Doc very clear what happened here.
Doc has his own flaws.
Yeah,
so Sam,
hell of a lot.
Sam, what do you mean? What do you mean I don't want to hear about Embiid? Nobody was. Greg, can you help these people? This guy's my son, and I smoked them. I mean, how many videos?
He was traded on Sunday. He was traded.
He was 95% traded on.
Yeah, how many videos did I do, or just on the shows that I did last Sunday with our show and Agree Disagree, a little post game with Rye, that I mentioned that was our stars lost us the game, and then it's Doc Rivers. Like, it doesn't go coaches when you have stars, right? When you have stars in the NBA in closing minutes, they got to be stars. One guy was for 2 straight games, while we didn't have that guy. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Look the people in the eye. I'm done with Doc Rivers too. That's cool. I would like another voice. It never hurts. But these guys got to play. If you're running it back and just adding little pieces to try to make yourself deeper, okay? Then these guys got to be stars in the biggest moments. Joel Embiid had a really good series up until the last 5 minutes of game 6 when he didn't see the basketball, and he was terrible in game 7. Terrible. Horrendous. Piss poor. How many words I got to use, right, or adjectives here to say this guy stunk?
It was so weird, too, because you can argue on one side.
I think you're saying Harden and Embiid fell woefully short.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? And you know who has enabled Harden all season long and ever since he got here? His buddy Daryl Morey.
And I think the other side of it is, and this ain't an excuse. Like I said this last week, dude obviously wasn't a honey cut again, but that's the problem. He's never 100.
Yeah, he's never 100.
He's never 100 when we need him. When we need him the most, he's never 100. This guy has the ability to drop 40 this whole goddamn series against mouses in the house, right? And he ended up being the mouse in the fucking house. Think about that. Think about that for a second, people.
Marcus Smart guard him.
Yeah, this guy should make everybody on Boston's roster a mouse in the house, including Al Horford. And he got punked on Sunday. Got punked, all right? He was the mouse in his own damn house.
Sam, game 5, Sam. Game 5. Harden didn't go off. It was Embiid and Maxey.
Yeah. His 30-point games mean nothing to us anymore. I'm not crowning him, but he's better than James Harden. Can we be real here? That's all I'm doing. If I'm ranking who is number uno, I'm not going to go with the MVP, okay? But I sure is the most consistent player on our basketball team, right? I'm going to go with the guy who single-handedly destroyed our offense with 5 minutes to go, with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of Game 6. And if you didn't see that, you ain't watching.
Well, the entire Celtics series was a complete sum up of what Harden's going to be for the rest of his career, right? He had 2 games where he won it, not by himself, but he was like unbelievable. And the rest of the series, he might as well not have been there, right?
Can we clip that just for future? He was a mouse in his own damn house. He was a mouse in his own damn house. We must need that like a little clip to run.
Should be a T-shirt too.
Yeah, we should get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
With
Just
Joel.
Harden's face. Which is Harden's face doing the shrug.
We should do it with both of them. 2 mouses in their own house.
Yeah, an Embiid feature and a Harden feature. 2 option T-shirts.
Ken, you're right though.
And
and that's where Harden
comes in. Or is Daryl Morey fucking enabled Harden this entire time?
You're right, Noah. You're right.
Why do you think Harden
during his stay in Houston,
with him?
during his stay so far here in Philly? I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it. Embiid sucked in Game 6 and 7, but there's much bigger issues here.
I don't think he sucked in Game 6 though.
Okay, the last 5 minutes.
But I don't know if
his fault, right?
But I don't know if he sucked. No, he didn't get the like. I'm not.
You don't know if he sucked. He didn't get the
basketball. That's the only excuse he gets from me, right?
That's like the people crushing Toby, like in series. Oh, he only scored 2 points. Well, they ran everything away from him. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. Right. And Boston, to their credit, wasn't helping off of Toby. They were helping off of Melton and whoever else was Donnell House. Right? That's who they were helping off.
Right.
Of, and rightfully so.
I mean, to me. The overall picture is we're never going to see a championship with James Harden and Daryl Morey in town, correct?
Maybe not.
No.
But maybe. It depends. Like, okay. Like, this is how, like, I don't know what the roster's going to look like.
I hear you, but
no,
I just don't see it.
No, I'm going to say it every fucking year until the guy's not here anymore, okay? And I'm going to stand on the damn hill. If you get a year where he's him, right? Guys, we're cool with that. What I mean by that? Mm-hmm. Where he's him, and we don't have after the first round, he's hurt again. There's nothing stopping this team from going to an NBA Finals but that. When you have the best player on the court,
right?
And he should be, right, guys? He should be. Okay. You
and Embiid, and if he stays fully healthy. Yep.
Yeah, that's your. This is what we're hoping on. Because if not, then if you don't believe he can do it, right, guys? If you don't believe he can stay healthy, that's why I said on Sunday you move him. If you don't believe it's ever going to come to fruition with him, because he's the end all be all here, right? He's the end all be all. If he's 100% in round 2 with the guys guarding him that were guarding him, he might go off for 45 a night. Seriously. Not an excuse. He stunk in Game 7. But the point is, if you don't believe he can do it, then you move him right now.
Tom, can I add one wrinkle to that? Because then I would agree with you.
Wrinkle away.
If he's healthy and you actually have a point guard who can consistently get you 25 to 28 points per game in the playoffs.
Again, in this past series, because it went to a 7, he didn't need that. He didn't need that. If he's him in game 7, like we've seen forever, okay, and fully 100, right? Forget game 7 or game 6, right? Game 6, he was a little off. He was 9 for 19.
Well, let's just talk about game 6, right? Because game 7, the Tatum thing happened, and that was just if he's him for the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter in game 6, we played tonight. It's that simple. If he's him, if he got the ball, or if he was more aggressive, like whoever you want to blame on why he did not get the ball, right?
Yeah, maybe him.
If he is anything, if he is 75% of what he was in game 5 in the final 6 minutes and 28 seconds of the fourth quarter, we played tonight.
Yep.
It's that simple. And that's what it makes me sick to my stomach to be that damn close. And then boom, the lights go out.
Well, you know what else makes you sick? More than anything, guys. Game 6 was downright heartbreaking, right?
Yes.
But we still had another one to play. Okay? We still had another one to play. We came out in game 7, guns blazing in the first quarter. We were so active defensively. We were hitting our open looks. They were moving the basketball well. That made it even worse. If you come out from the get-go and you just, right? Then you're like, okay, all right, we blew game 6. We blew both. But to your point, yes, when you're judging this and you look at game 6, and he's not 9 for 19, and he's his usual 50% from the field, and he only scored 26, right? That's not Joel.
And that's really 26 and 3/4 because he didn't get the effing ball.
And everybody puts up the stats, his stat differential from the regular season to the playoffs. It's a joke because his numbers went down immediately when he got hurt. His numbers went down immediately when he got hurt. So if you don't believe he's going to stay healthy for a full season, one goddamn full season, then you should move him. You should move him tomorrow.
On that, Tom, with the game 7 thing, and this goes back to a conversation Ralphie and I had weeks ago. And I think it's a good question because now we've been on both sides of this as Sixers fans, where we just flat out got blown out in game 7 and didn't show up. And we got Kawhi bounced. Which one hurts more to you? And do you think sticks with you? Obviously, the blowout is way closer than the Kawhi bounce. But if you look back 10 years from now, which one is going to sting more? The fact that you got Kawhi bounced and you were that close, or that you got exposed in game 7 in the second half to show even your MVP might not have any freaking guts, right? And you've got the whole like, oh, he didn't care, or, oh, he was hurt, like every name in the book. And that was the trigger to even the most hardcore Sixers fans being like, we got to move on. What hurts more to you?
No, it's simple because those days you always still had hope for the following year. Okay? What I witnessed over the last 2 weeks per se, week and some change, is the most heartbreaking losses I've dealt with in Philadelphia sports history. Simple. Bigger than any NFC title game loss, bigger than any of them. Because it's a rival again, and you had a 3-2 series lead. You had keep this in mind. You had a 3-2 series lead. And what transpired after that makes you sick to your stomach for a long time.
Coming home, too, Tom. Coming home with a 3-2 series lead. Coming
Scary.
Home.
The stench of
Jason
Harden.
Tatum not scoring in the first half again. Barely scoring in the first 3 quarters.
With the lead with 5 minutes to go.
And that's the killer, right?
In the fourth quarter.
As much as game 7, another friggin' Mother's Day, another Father's, like the Mother Father's Day, like that's a discussion in itself. But it's like as much as we will talk about how they got exposed for everything they are as competitors in game 7, that game 6 will bother me more. Because you saw it. It would happen in slow motion when we collapsed and Jason Tatum woke up. And we knew, even going into game 7, we were confident, all that stuff. We knew, oh my God, we might have woke him the F up. Because he was asleep the previous 3 games for the most part. And you woke him up and you couldn't get your MVP the ball.
51 points later and our season's over.
Yeah, I have 2 players for you guys, okay? As some options that I think could really help this basketball team and maybe get us to a point where we feel like, okay, these 2 guys help us take us over the hump. I don't know how it would work money-wise, right? I know you'd probably have to do some things, but One is Dylan Brooks, like we talked about.
Okay.
And the other one is Jordan Clarkson.
All right. I'm in.
I've always liked Jordan Clarkson.
I think those two guys
coming off the bench.
If you run it back with what you have, and then you bring those two guys back in, but you have to move some things, obviously, that are deeper than that. I think this team's better. So, I don't know what you do. I don't know if you still have PJ. I don't know, right? I don't know what you have to do because those guys aren't going to break the bank. That's the point. They won't break the bank. They'll get paid, but are you able to pull that off? I don't know. And that's where I go. That's where I go. Yep. Thank you.
So what the easiest answer to how you
was waiting on you. Was waiting on you, Ryan.
Yeah, I went to the cloud. I'm in the cloud right now. So the easiest thing you would do, and you might not like this as Sixers fans, but if you're trying to make that kind of move in the free agency market, like, okay, we're not going to try and get cute and get creative, as Daryl Morey, once again, the president of basketball operations, the guy who's supposed to get creative, has said that he doesn't really want to do. In the trade market, if you don't want to do the trade market thing, what you do is you send Tobias to like Oklahoma City, and it's just a dump. It's a salary dump, right? And you get back, I don't know, like somebody, right? Like you get maybe Isaiah Joe for all those people. You get the Isaiah Joe back. You know what I'm saying? Or like the name you probably get is Kenrich Williams, right? You get Kenrich Williams and maybe a couple picks, whatever, because they have like 90 of them. Therefore, what it's doing is it's not giving you players directly back, but you can go out and you get Jordan Clarkson for like, he made, I think he made like $11 million.
He's got a player option, which he's
absolutely opting out of that because he can get probably close to $22-25 million on the open market. A name I would really like, honestly, and I think he's kind of a me guy, but it doesn't matter. He's a really good player for what we need. If we dump Tobias' salary and we have $35+ million to spend, I would like Kyle Kuzma to play my three. Kyle Kuzma to play my three, with or without Harden, Maxey, and Embiid. Like, it doesn't matter who's here and who's not. I think that could be really good for us.
Yeah, another guy I like too. There's a couple, but I do like Gary Trent Jr., who's got a player option in Portland. Again, you got to move Tobias, right, with some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But if I get like a Gary Trent Jr. and a Dylan Brooks, I feel like I'm better, right? There's ways for us to get better, but now it's time for Daryl Morey to step to the plate, right? And this is where he has to make his money.
It's time for him to get on a plane and leave town for good. And take James Harden with him. And until that happens, fellas, we will not be a true championship contender again. Once we say bye-bye to Daryl and bye-bye to James, we can start moving forward as an organization. Yeah. And on that note, fellas, have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the show.
See you, brother.
Love you, brother.
See you next week.
See you next
Love
week.
you too, fellas. Be good.
You too. I don't know if that's necessarily 100% true. And what I mean by that is because of Joel. Like that's the difference maker in the whole, like, Daryl and Harden can't win here. Okay, but there's still the MVP of the league. Like Joker came up short how many times? Right? You know what I mean? How many times did he come up short?
Giannis came up short a lot of times.
Like, it takes one. It takes one, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. It does. But I mean, we just watched it, right? You know what I mean? Like that this one's fresh in our minds. You know what I mean? Like,
get it out of your minds for a second, because
and it was him. You know what
but
I mean?
It wasn't. But again, it circles back to Greg did not 100% him again. So if you believe,
I'm saying it was James. Like, that's the reason. And that's the whole reason why, like, I hated it even becoming part of it, right? Like, years ago, like when we got him, it's that stench, right? Chris Paul's got the same thing. You know what I mean? Chris Paul, whatever team he's on, he can't win either. And it's not that they're bad players. I mean, I think James Harden is bad. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Chris Paul's bad per se. Like, Chris Paul's a great point guard.
He just can't stay healthy
in the biggest moments.
That's the funny thing. Go ahead, Tom.
No. So why don't you just let him not pick up his option, walk away?
I would love it.
Hold on, hear me out. You get $39 million off the books, And then you can go get a guy like Dylan Brooks. You can go get a guy like Jordan Clarkson or whoever, Gary Trent Jr., whatever.
Yes.
Now you have the money to go get those second-tier players instead. And now your top 3 players going into this year is Joel, Maxey, Tobias, and then like a Trent, Brooks, right? Melton. You're better. You are better.
100% better.
You are better. And that's what they have to do. He has to be willing. Because this will show you a lot about Daryl Morey. He has to value winning more than relationships. And if he does that, right, the Sixers team can be better.
100%.
You can be better with less.
He hasn't won anything either, right? To your point, he hasn't won anything either.
No, so I don't want to be top heavy.
He's got to put that to him, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that would then kind of go on the mold of what Jimmy's doing in Miami.
How much more scoring do I need if I got 3 guys that can give me 3 guys? I got Embiid who doesn't stop scoring essentially, and Maxey and Tobias is my top 3 guys. Like I think I'm in good shape, right? If I had Clarkson off my bench or whatever, right? Like I think I'm going to get enough scoring. Like I'm not worried about that. Can I get deeper? Can I run some more things at you, right? Right? Like we talked about the other night. Do I have the ability to run some more things at you? Now look how deep I am. I got Brooks. I got Tobias. I got PJ Tucker, right? Like I'm better. I got Maxey. I got Trent or Clarkson, right? Like I'm so much better. Melton, like now I'm really better.
I'm looking at this one scenario.
Yeah, Gavin, you're right, brother. He's got to understand that he's now in the back end of his career, and loyalty and friendship has to go out the way if you're all in the win.
You what you're saying is not wrong at all, right? It's stuff that we would do. We would have already done. Like we already, or the exit meeting would have been like, Harden, we appreciate you taking the pay cut and being unselfish and all that stuff, but we just got to look elsewhere, right? And the other thing too that pisses me off with this, that goes right to what we're saying. Daryl Morey literally said today that he believes that Tyrese Maxey can be one of the best players in the NBA. Okay. Do I think there's some like filler to that? Yeah, because I don't know if I believe Tyrese Maxey could be one of the best players in the NBA, right? But if you believe that he's going to be really good, then freaking give him the keys.
Then why bring back Harden?
Then give him the freaking keys. Let him fail, right? Like
if you have all the
guy's going to
confidence in the
command the
world
max
that
contract.
Maxey, if you have all the confidence in the world that Maxey's going to take that next step, then why even have the conversation and bringing Harden back?
Find out what he is and how good he can be in the year before you have to pay him, Daryl. Again, I'm sitting in a computer chair. I shouldn't have to be telling you this. The guy is going to want at least the Jordan Poole contract, but probably more than that, right? If he replicates what he has been, since he's been a legitimate player in the rotation. Find out if he can be the true point guard and let him sink or swim. Because if he can't, okay, then you either don't give him the max or you don't pay him. But at least I freaking know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get lengthier, Sean, too. Like, and that's what I'm saying with no Harden. And that's what we're saying with let Maxey take that next step and be the guy, be the second guy. Mm-hmm. And like a guy like Dylan Brooks may even come off my bench if I got him. Right?
Oh, he would.
I still have Tobias. Like Clarkson would come off my bench. Trent would start for me at the 2. Like if I was able to get Gary Trent, it'd be Maxey and Trent. Right? So like, and the other thing is Tobias can also play the 4. So if you wanted to start Brooks and Tobias together, you could, and let PJ be your piece off the bench and keep him fresher legs, right? You would then have options of what you can run at people. You can make adjustments easier. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not like would I rather have Kyle Kuzma and Dylan Brooks? Sure, but he's going to cost you more. That's the point. Like we don't have endless amounts of money. So you have to be creative, unless I'm willing to just let Tobias play out the year contract, and then I open up more money. Makes sense? Now I open up a max deal. So, and now I have 2 max deals where I can max Maxey and I can max Tobias or whoever the other guy maybe I want to go out and try to find if I wanted to go that route. Or I keep that money open for second tier players to fill out a roster. There's so many options then.
All that stuff makes sense. The reason why I stop at it, and it's nothing to do with what you're saying, is just Daryl's got to be something he's not. Something he's never been. He's always been the star hunter. Always. Well,
you can star hunt by not signing this guy to 4 years. There's like other ways to star hunt.
Yeah.
He has arguably the best star in the league regular season wise this past year, Joel Embiid. So you're starting with hello. So and then you just said you had another one in Maxey. So you have 2 stars. So how can you fill it? He has to be different for once in his career. And if he does that, this team can get better. And if he doesn't, listen, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Listen, okay. Forget Dylan Brooks then, guys. Jesus Christ. I mean, goodness gracious. We're talking about a bench roll. The guys are freaking all over here. You rather have Dylan Brooks or McDaniels in a playoff series? Off your bench. Time's yours, guys. I'm just trying to help. Like I'm not talking about starters and stars here. Gee, goodness gracious. God damn it. Can't even name a name.
I do find it funny that some people, as soon as they heard Dylan Brooks, are like, "You want him to be the second star?" It's like, no, it's just a bench. We need bench players. We need somebody better than Niang that can actually move and not grab people's freaking legs in Game 7. That's all.
You wouldn't rather have Dylan Brooks toughness off your bench than freaking Niang or McDaniels? Like, come on,
Tom. I would, and I hate Dylan Brooks. Right? Like I hate him. But I would rather, at least the guy can freaking move a little bit.
I don't hate anything at Memphis because they all play hard. Makes sense? Like there's one thing.
In one way or the other, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're packing heat, but they play hard as a group, though. I got to give them a lot of credit. Even when they lose, they're always playing hard. So I'll take anybody that plays hard. And after what we watched, after what we goddamn fucking watched last Sunday, you got guys, you got jerk-offs trying to tell me, you're going to try to tell me that you're not looking for guys that play hard? You're not looking for guys that play freaking hard? You're not looking for guys that get after it? God damn it. Brooks
is like a bigger, what's that guard's name? Who has the podcast now? He went to Chicago. He used to be on the Lakers. Beverly. He's a bigger Patrick Beverly. And people always talk about, oh my God, trade the world for Patrick Beverly. Is Beverly like that good? No. But you know what? He can defend. He's tough. So like, of all the things I don't like about Dylan Brooks, there's 2 things that I know he can do. He's tough and he can defend. Can he make open shots in the playoffs? I don't know, but I don't know who can on our team. So like that's fine. I know Niang can't make open shots and he can't defend.
I love how he's like this. He's so terrible. You know what I mean? That's all. I love how
you did pick the most polarizing player of the playoffs.
I was going to say he's polarizing, and everyone's got a short memory, right?
Well,
they only see LeBron like owning them. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, people don't watch Grizzlies games in the regular season, so they don't really understand how good he is.
Previous years where he was halfway decent.
Yeah, or they don't realize when Ja doesn't play, he's better because he gets more opportunities, right? They also don't see that LeBron's done it to a lot of people, but I'd rather a guy getting up in his face. I mean, again, he's not the best player. 32% three-point shooter this year. I think he was almost 40% from the field. But again, I was just looking for some bench toughness, some stuff better than Niang. And people are all up in arms. So, I mean, whatever. Run it back then. Yeah, I mean, Derek, I'd rather have Green too. I mentioned that, brother. Appreciate it, though. I said I would run. I said you want to get to an Eastern Conference final at least. Give me Draymond Green. We probably won't cut the nets down.
Well, I think why we said Dylan Brooks too, it's because if we're all going to agree that he's a generic Draymond Green, okay, he's a generic Draymond Green who's about $25 million cheaper. In a world where we really don't have that much money to spend or draft assets, so that's kind of this guy, man. Well, you guys don't realize that Dylan Brooks was literally the worst statistical. You keep wanting to talk about stats, Brandon, but you also want to talk about how he compares to Patrick Beverly from 3 and all that stuff. I'm not saying he's literally Patrick Beverly. You're taking things too literally. We're talking about a bench player that can help in comparison to our entire bench for the most part, outside of DeAnthony Melton, who are going to be free agents. Therefore, you're going to have to take bench players, which are why they're bench players, that are not perfect players. We're not saying Dylan Brooks is going to replace James Harden, and it's going to be it's going to be Brooks, Maxey, and Embiid as the 3 core guys. We're talking about a bench guy who's you're probably going to be able to get cheaper because he had a horrible playoff series. At least that's all I'm saying, right? I'm pretty sure that's what you're saying, Tom. I don't want to put words in your mouth, though.
Yeah, I'm saying Dylan Brooks has always been able to shoot the basketball a little bit. This was his worst year. People forget, last year he averaged 18 a game. He averaged 17 a game the year before that, 16 a game the year before that. So the guy's 27 years old, right? He shot, he shot 30% from 3 in 2021, 22, 34% the year before, 35, 37. Makes sense? This was a down year per se, overall from the field. That's why he only averaged 14. All right, that's it. That's it.
Greg,
the guy can.
Go ahead.
No, the guy can score a little bit. Like we're talking about a bench guy. Like Jesus God, he can't help. Now he says he can't help. He's a net negativity. Oh my God.
Greg, I don't even want the guy, and I'm like sticking up for him. I'm like, get him.
Yeah.
Get him. I don't even know what I'm doing. Just because like some of the comments are so preposterous. Like, I don't even want the guy.
I don't even
At
want the
all.
guy. I'm not saying like I'm clamoring. I'm looking for better options than what we have.
We're
That's
just
all.
throwing names out there.
Throwing goddamn names out. Oh goodness,
Guys,
gracious.
we wouldn't hate that if they signed.
Just not people understand that we have to really we have to fill bodies on the bench. Like, my God.
It's amazing.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten like, bring back Paul Reed for $20 million a year because he's going to be a free agent. I'm surprised we haven't gotten that yet.
Huh.
Oh, Casey. Okay. All right. Can we talk Phillies now? Now I'm saying get away from it. Now I'm saying get away from it.
Yeah, I got to pee before I even talk Phillies.
Ralphie, I want to ask you one question, right? With this head coaching thing, because a name that I keep hearing that's getting brought up as a potential guy for the Sixers is Frank Vogel.
Local guy.
If Vogel ends up here, what
guy is he? Great story for 6 ABC.
Vogel with the team with Embiid and
Clark
Harden
be
and
all over
Maxey,
it.
what is that like? What is your initial gut reaction to somebody who used to have him as a head coach?
I mean, Frank Vogel was a good coach. I mean, obviously, at least he was a good coach for us. It's just that his last year with us, he kind of like got screwed over, right? And we're up. Think about it. His last year with us, we're up 2-1. We're up 2-1 on Phoenix, and AD gets hurt. And then it's like you got to play LeBron 48. You got to play LeBron 48 minutes. And we also that playoff series, and it went to shit. And then the following year after that, the next year after that, we get Russell Westbrook, and it's a train wreck, right? It's a train wreck after that, and then the rest is history. But I think Frank Vogel is a good head coach. I think for me, Frank Vogel was more of a small market coach than a big market coach, if that makes sense. Like there's some coaches that there's some coaches in the league that are better for bigger markets than they are for small markets. And there's obviously coaches that are better for small markets than they are for big markets. I think Frank Vogel, to me, in my opinion, is a better small market coach to where the spotlight's not on him 24/7. And he can get away with a little stuff. And he actually did, because the years he was in Orlando, they were playoff teams down there for quite a while.
So
with him.
So what you're saying is Frank Vogel to the Toronto Raptors is what you're saying.
Yeah, he could go there. I mean, but if you consider Toronto now not a small market anymore.
I don't consider them like Charlotte or Orlando, but I consider them smaller than some of the teams that'll be out there. Right? Like the only reason why I don't consider Milwaukee a small market is because you have Giannis.
Yeah, you're gonna have primetime games and stuff like that.
You know what I mean? Like, who are some of the other teams out there that
Milwaukee's in an interesting spot, though.
I think they're gonna get Monty. If I'm being completely
Milwaukee's.
honest.
Well, no, I'm saying just as an organization, they're
Phoenix is out
spot.
there. Phoenix is out there, but that's not a small market. That's
I think that new owner wants to make a splash. Glenn over there that would be fun, right? Go over there with Paul.
Glenn
back with Chris Paul.
Glenn
That'll
was golfing today.
Run the Lob City team back again. Might as well just get Blake back for a little bit.
Jesus. I'm surprised I haven't heard of Blake Griffin. Hey, bring Blake Griffin here for 2 years, 10 mil. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Who else needs a coach?
Who else needs a coach?
Charlotte?
Let me actually
they need a coach every 2 seconds.
See who actually needs one. Phoenix needs one. I know that. I don't
Phoenix,
think
Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly. I think.
Here you go. Milwaukee, Phoenix, Philly, Detroit, Toronto.
That's what it is. Detroit. I could see Frank Vogel actually going to Detroit.
Yeah.
Young guys.
Hosed. Sorry, Don.
Oh yeah, I know.
Sorry, Don.
Well, we haven't seen Don since.
They are literally the New York Knicks. They literally got what the New York Knicks got that year when they sucked.
Let's gift San Antonio another lottery win.
Yeah, Duncan than Wemby.
Right. No, I got to deal with him for the next 20 years if he's good.
Ethan, this is the fact that I don't even care if like the betting site wasn't like DraftKings or FanDuel. The fact that he's a favorite anywhere to land here, which he was yesterday. Like, listen, JJ Redick, fun podcast, even though the thing is the most analytical damn podcast I've ever seen in my entire life. First,
have you guys even started your coaching search yet?
No, no. But here's the first off, JJ Redick as a head coach here would be laughable. Okay, first off, he's Joel's like best friend, so like we think JJ Redick's gonna lock in Joel Embiid and James Harden.
It's gonna be like Jason Kidd all over again. Hit me.
Yeah,
or the Steve Nash
but younger and worse.
Yeah.
Steve Nash, but younger and worse. It's like you know what it is. It's like, oh, Dan Orlovsky should be a coach in the NFL. It's like, oh, let's just do that with JJ Redick. But like. JJ Redick's good on podcasts, right? Like, no. Ralphie, to your point, Daryl said numerous times today that he's not expecting this to be a quick head coaching search. They're going to take their time. What does that tell you, Ralph? Just when you hear
the in-house.
Is that what? So that's what that tells you. I'm not saying you're wrong because we don't know.
I think it's in-house.
What does that tell you, Greg? when Daryl comes out and says numerous times in the public that he's not going to rush.
4 to 5 guys that can at least coach at a higher level and have and knows what 3 or 4 guys. Let's see, Nurse, Monty, Budenholzer, and Vogel. So that's 4 guys have all coached superstars so far in their career. Nurse had Kawhi, right? Mike had Giannis. Vogel had LeBron and AD at the same time. And who was the other one I just mentioned? Monty had KD, Ayton, Paul, Booker.
Well,
so those 4 automatically qualify for Philadelphia because you have those 4 guys that have coached superstars and know what it takes.
Greg, what does it tell you when you heard Daryl say that he's going to take his time and he like pounded that point in that it's going to be a long head coaching search?
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily told me anything. I think he's going to turn over every rock. He's going to interview every single person out there, right? He's not going to like, even if someone comes in, like Monty Williams comes in and blows him away, he's not going to say, all right, you're mine right now. He's going to go through the process. And I hate to use that word, but he's going to go through the process.
He said that same thing. He literally said that same thing. He's like, sorry, I got to be careful with that word. He literally said that on the podium.
Like if Monty's the first one, he's gonna go to Nurse. He's gonna go to Budenholzer, right? He's gonna go to. Yeah. Obviously, he's probably already talked to Sam, right? But that's what it says. I don't know if it necessarily says that's like Ralphie that means in house or not. But he's gonna go through his due diligence.
You can take it for you can take it for whatever you want to take it for, right? People can read into it and say, "Oh, that tells me he's already got his guy." Like everybody has a list. So, of course, he has guys that intrigue him probably, but it just tells me that's what he's supposed to say. Like, he can't say, like, he's not going to say, like, well, we got it all figured out. We know who it is, right? He's got to say, hey, I got to go and do, all my, I got to do my due diligence. This is going to take a minute.
Tell me if I'm overthinking it. To me,
you're overthinking
it. To me, it sounds like he's going to wait and see if James Harden is going to come back, and he's going to base the decision based off of James Harden.
Maybe
the James Harden decision will not come until officially right after the draft, beginning of July, and it's like, okay, I want it to be James and D'Antoni, but if James isn't going to be here, then there's no
When's
point
the
in
draft?
D'Antoni.
When's the draft again? June what? Next month, right?
28th.
Well, you better get one before then.
I think it's a Harden thing. I think it's, hey, we need to find out if James is going to be here, because if James is going to be here, we're going to go get the guy that got the most out of him in D'Antoni.
NBA drafts on the 22nd of June, so basically a month away.
So it's early.
I mean, I guess he matters a little bit, but you're going to go get your guy, in my opinion, regardless of James, right? Like, you're going to go get your best candidate.
You should. You should.
I mean, I get it to a point there. Like, okay, those two fit. Mm-hmm. But does the roster fit with that? I mean, that's the other side of it.
With D'Antoni?
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
Technically, because D'Antoni doesn't value centers. He values Robert Covington playing center.
And he values it up. Even with James, I don't think it does, because he wants that up-tempo, pace. And James can't do that anymore. Or maybe he was just reluctant because he hated Doc, right? Obviously, we have to keep that in mind as of now.
But Ralphie, you're right. Like they can't wait too long, because if they wait too long, well, then all the great candidates will be gone, right?
Because you got to draft in the month, right? And then you would rather think that teams are going to want their head coach in, especially teams that have vacancies that are going to want to, at least talk to the head coach, or like which way you want to go. You want to go point guard, shooting guard, who you want in the track.
That's what makes me think there are two options. Their two main options are going to be wait to see if the Harden D'Antoni thing can work. Harden come back for the right money, years, and then D'Antoni matching up with them. And if they can't do that, their fallback will be Sam Cassell, which in a way is like, okay, awesome. Let's just do the fallback thing. Because I think by that point, that is the one guy of the people in our lists that are not going to command, at least I wouldn't think so, all of the attention that the Budenholzers, the Montes, the nurses will.
Yeah, you had coach here. You get a lot of attention.
Yeah, for sure.
So no matter who it is, they're gonna get all of it. Yeah, bring back Markelle Fultz. I'm in. So all right. Well, Phillies stink. So there's that.
You guys worry about 1 to 10. You're worried about Trea Turner.
Oh, Trea Turner, I already answered that on Monday. I'm not worried.
No, he'll be all right. I'm worried about fucking Walker though. Would be nice. Have a little pulse.
I think I'm more worried about the defense, like
I'm worried about
Turner's
the
defense.
I'm worried about the team.
I'm worried about everything.
Yeah, I'm worried about the team. I'm
worried about coach.
Yeah,
I'm worried about everything.
Yeah, this isn't an individual game for me. This is like we need better starting pitching. Yeah. We need to hit with runners in scoring position. This is a circle jerk.
Putridness. Like I was really looking forward. They were playing really well heading into Colorado, right? You had Colorado and you were missing Logan Webb here in San Fran, and Atlanta, Max Fried, Kyle Wright were out for a couple weeks. You were hoping to go on a road trip, then come home with the Cubs, nice little 10-gamer, win 8 of 10. You know what I mean? Like, let's go win 7 of 10, 8 of 10. Let's put some pressure on the Braves, and they just absolutely lay a dud. And I know like that loss in Colorado on the getaway day. I know it was like, all right, fine. You still took 2 to 3, but that loss, just something about the way they lost that game was just like it. Obviously, it rolled into what we saw these last 3 games here in San Fran. It's not good, and I know we've been there before in previous years, but this seems different.
It's a lot of money.
We're not pitching well, and that's the biggest thing.
No, it's a lot of money.
And it's a huge amount of money.
They smell like a goddamn 500 team. At the end of the year, that's what they smell like. I mean, at any point they can get hot, right? But we can't sit here and expect they're going to win like 19 out of 21 like they did last year or something crazy. Like, they got to start playing consistent baseball. Mm-hmm. They need starting pitching to pitch better, right? And like at the end of the day, even more than that, they got to fucking hit with runners in scoring position. Yeah. That's it. Guys, say what you have to say about them, and let's get the fuck out of here.
I'll just say one thing. Rhys Hoskins kind of important.
Oh yeah, I mean we said that. We said that from day one, right?
Oh, that's not addressed to you guys. That's Derek Cole this will be a Ryan Howard, Jim Thome thing. Derek Cole will be just fine. And granted, Derek Cole lasted 7 days before getting hurt, but Rhys Hoskins is pretty damn important.
Yeah, he started to prove it.
Yeah, 100 RBIs. They don't grow in trees. So
yeah,
now you did replace that production with a guy like Trea Turner. You would hope, and that's not happening. Nobody's hitting with runners in scoring possession. It's anemic.
Yeah, it was fitting that Trey ended the game today, right? Like it was just when you're struggling, that's just the way it goes, right?
Well,
come up with second, third, or no, bases loaded.
Bases loaded.
Yeah, come up with bases loaded, 2 outs in the ninth, and who's up? Trea Turner.
It looks like because he's
playing
doing
as a team either. They're not playing.
No, they're not.
The Trea Turner thing, which again, like, am I worried? No, he's gonna have a long time here to hit and be Trea Turner. But it's weird. He's doing like the Nick Castellanos thing from last year, where he's just swinging at everything on the outside.
Yeah, he's not saying it right.
It's like, is he staying in the Simmons house? I don't know. Maybe that's a thing.
All right, boys. Great show.
Always.
Everybody hit the like, subscribe.
We got creative tonight. Maybe our GM will.
Hopefully.